Chapter 94. It's her. I always get the chapter number wrong. I hope you don't mind. If you're free, you can follow the official WeChat account and search for Guangzhong Old Man or Xlorin. Qin Sheng became a full-time employee in half a month and a deputy manager in 2 months. He broke all the records in the reception department and made many jealous, especially at this moment. Everyone was still in a daze, thinking that they had heard it wrong. Qin Sheng became a deputy manager after being a full-time employee for just over a month. That was like a rocket. Everyone had thought of all the possible candidates in the reception department, but they had never expected it to be Qin Sheng. At this moment, the faces of the few candidates were especially ugly. Disappointment was written all over their faces, and it was a world of difference from their hopeful expressions just now. The others were also dumbfounded, unable to come back to their senses for a while. Especially Liu Yuan, he was stunned. He could not accept this answer. He thought of all the possibilities, but he did not expect it to be Qin Sheng. How long had Qin Sheng been in the reception department? How could he be the deputy manager? If someone else was chosen, Liu Yuan would not have any complaints. But why was it Qin Sheng? He was the one who brought Qin Sheng up. How was he going to raise his head in the reception department in the future? Qin Sheng knew that after this announcement, he would be the target of public criticism. How was he going to face Liu Yuan? Everyone's reaction was within Ms. Anne's expectations. In order to make things more awkward, she could only clap and say, "Let's congratulate Qin Sheng for becoming the new deputy manager of the reception department. I hope everyone will support Manager Qin's work in the future." Qin Sheng becoming the new deputy manager would definitely affect the other 2 deputy managers. Wang Haichao was furious. Qin Sheng had only been in the reception department for a few days. How could he become the deputy manager? How long had he been in the reception department to get to this position? If Su Lancheng did not announce it himself, Wang Haichao would have questioned him. As for Yu Fengji, she was not surprised by the news. She knew that Qin Sheng did not come to Shangshan Ruoshui to be an ordinary attendant. At the same time, she understood that being the deputy manager was just the beginning. He might even become the general manager in the future. What was impossible? Su Lancheng understood everyone's reaction, so he did not let Qin Sheng speak. Otherwise, Qin Sheng would not be able to face everyone. He could only let everyone slowly accept this fact and see what Qin Sheng would do. After the meeting, Su Lancheng left first. Mizan walked over slowly, patted Qin Sheng's shoulder and said, "Work hard, Qin Sheng. Your future is not limited to Shangshan Ruoshui." Mizan had also thought it through. There was nothing that she couldn't think through. Just like when she first met Qin Sheng, she felt that Qin Sheng did not belong here. Since she had long understood that Qin Sheng was here to be gilded, if she was smart, she would cooperate with Qin Sheng's work in the future. If Qin Sheng made a meteoric rise in the future, he might still remember her kindness. "Thank you, Sister-in," Qin Sheng said with a faint smile. "When you're done, come to my office and we'll have a good chat," Mizan said with a smile. Wang Haichao did not congratulate Qin Sheng at all and left directly. The artists and gentlemen who were close to him also did not dare to congratulate him and left immediately. Yu Fengji did not think that Qin Sheng becoming the deputy manager would affect her in any way. At least in the future, she would have one more ally. It would be difficult for Wang Haichao to abuse his power. "I didn't expect you to be so fast, but I'm not surprised," Yu Fengji said playfully. Qin Sheng squinted his eyes and said, "Really? I'll treat you to dinner when I'm free," Yu Fengji took the initiative to say. Although there were some small conflicts in the past, she would not hesitate to follow Qin Sheng's footsteps in the future. Qin Sheng said happily, "I'm free whenever I'm free." Yu Fengji did not say anything more. She knew that Qin Sheng still had to deal with other people. Then many artists and gentlemen came to congratulate Qin Sheng, including several candidates. After all, it had already become a fact. No matter how insensible they were, they had to save face in case the new deputy manager would make things difficult for them in the future. After everyone congratulated him, only Liu Yuan, Song Siyu, and Tang Wan next to him were left. They really did not know how to face Qin Sheng, especially Liu Yuan. At this time, his eyes were uncertain, and finally he braced himself and walked over. "Brother Liu, let's go out and have a chat." Before Liu Yuan could lower his face to congratulate him, Qin Sheng took the initiative to say this, because he had already thought of a way to resolve the conflict between Liu Yuan and himself. Liu Yuan wanted to refuse, but he felt that it seemed a little too stingy to do so. After all, there were many people watching the fun, waiting for him and Qin Sheng to break up, so Liu Yuan could only smile bitterly and nod. Compared with Tang Wan, Song Siyu was naturally shrewd, so she smiled and said, "Manager Qin, please take care of us in the future. Don't let others bully us." Tang Wan seemed to be a little angry. She also felt that the position of the manager should have been given to Brother Liu. Why did he give it to Qin Sheng? Brother Liu was Qin Sheng's manager. In the garden behind Shangshan Ruoshui, Qin Sheng did not care about the rules of Shangshan Ruoshui. He directly handed a cigarette to Liu Yuan and said, "Brother Liu, are you very surprised?" "A little surprised, but I can understand it. You suddenly came to Shangshan Ruoshui and became a regular employee in half a month. You often ask for leave, but you can become the deputy manager in less than 2 months. No one would believe that there is no story behind it," Liu Yuan said calmly, although he still could not let go of this matter. Qin Sheng whispered, "I can understand it. What happened to you? I took your position. You may not be able to accept it. Didn't Wang Haichao steal my position in the past? Didn't I still make it? I can't resign just because you're the manager, right? Where can I find such an easy job with high salary and good benefits?" Liu Yuan smiled bitterly. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "That's right. But this shows that you're more or less angry." "I don't believe that I'm not angry. Why? I brought you up. If you become the deputy manager, how can I live in Shangshan Ruoshui in the future? Does everyone think that my character or ability is not good enough, so I can't be the deputy manager?" Since things had come to this point, Liu Yuan also accepted it calmly. After all, he still had to get along with Qin Sheng in the future. The relationship could not be too stiff, but he had to vent the grievances in his heart. He was not that kind of hypocritical person. "Well, that's more like it. Finally, you're still the Brother Liu I know. If you keep joking with me today, I guess we can't even be friends in the future. I don't like that kind of person who hides a knife in his smile," Qin Sheng said in a deep voice. Liu Yuan snorted and said, "Why in the end, you are the one who is wronged. Brother Liu, let's not talk nonsense. Let's talk about something practical. I was brought up by you, and you also treat me as a friend. Today, I also took your position. No matter what, I am sorry." Qin Sheng lowered his attitude and said, "But, as you said, I came to Shangshan Ruoshui not for the same reason as you. I can't stay in Shangshan Ruoshui forever. But if there is no accident, I may become the general manager of Shangshan Ruoshui in the future, or I may leave before I become the general manager. But I promise you, whether I am in Shangshan Ruoshui or not, the position of the reception manager is yours. If you are outstanding, it is possible that you can become the deputy general manager." Qin Sheng's words shocked Liu Yuan even more than when Su Lanqing announced that Qin Sheng would become the deputy manager of the reception department. "Are you kidding me?" Brother Liu said with a slightly agitated expression. Qin Sheng said calmly, "Just take it that I am kidding. You will understand after a period of time. Okay, let's not talk about this. Go back to work." Qin Sheng pinched out the cigarette, but patted Liu Yuan on the shoulder and walked back with a smile. As for whether Liu Yuan believed it or not, it was Liu Yuan's business. He could only do this. If Liu Yuan did not believe it and might oppose him in the future, Qin Sheng would naturally take back this promise. Liu Yuan stood still and did not come to his senses. To be honest, he was really doubtful. But Qin Sheng did not have to lie to him. After all, Qin Sheng was not such a person. In Ms. N's office, Ms. N and Qin Sheng had a good talk. It was nothing more than arranging the work of a new deputy manager and building a good relationship with Qin Sheng. She hoped that Qin Sheng would work harder in the future and strive for further progress. In fact, the deputy manager worked harder than ordinary artists. In addition to arranging the work and so on, he had to personally receive some important VIPs and take responsibility if something went wrong. On the first day as the deputy manager, Qin Sheng was somewhat not used to it. After arranging the work, he basically went back and forth. There were no VIP members or VIPs today. Qinsheng got off work at 5 o'clock. Wang Haichao was in charge at night. After work, Qinsheng ran to number 1 Zhongliang Ocean View to find Xiaoding. He had not seen Xiaoding for some time and did not know how he was doing recently. Today, Xiaoding suddenly called and said that he was in a bad mood and wanted a drink. So Qinsheng rushed over after work. After opening the door for Qinsheng, Xiaoding lay on the sofa with a decadent look and stared at the ceiling blankly. The living room was a mess, with beer bottles and takeout boxes everywhere. Qinsheng did not know how much he had drunk. "What kind of demon are you?" Qinsheng scolded angrily. Xiaoding said weakly, "Boss, I am lovelorn." Qinsheng looked confused and then laughed and said, "What the hell, Xiaoding, are you kidding me? You said you were lovelorn? Why don't you say you want to commit suicide? Since I came back to Shanghai, how many girlfriends do you think you've changed? Did any of them last more than a month? If you want to talk about lovelorn, it should be those girls who are lovelorn. What kind of love are you lovelorn? Boss, are you still human? I said I was lovelorn, but you did not comfort me. You actually mocked me. God, why is my life so bitter?" Xiaoding, whose hair was messy, looked up to the sky and sighed. Qinsheng stopped joking and said seriously, "Tell me, what happened? Do you still remember that night when we went to the charity banquet? I said that I had met my true love. I've been chasing after her for so long, but I haven't even managed to get a date with her once. She blacklisted me on WeChat. I can't even enter her eyes. And I also realized that I actually have a strong love rival," Xiaoding said in a daze. Qinsheng still did not understand and said, "You did not even get her. How did you say you were lovelorn?" "Because I gave up, so I was lovelorn," Xiaoding explained with a sad face. This theory was really King weird. Qinsheng was shocked. This guy was really King thick-skinned. But after all, he was his good brother. Qinsheng could only say, "Do you have a photo? Let me see. What kind of great beauty can make a playboy like you fall head over heels for her?" Xiaoding stood up and found his phone. He found the stunning goddess photo, then handed it to Qinsheng and said, "Here, this is my goddess." Qinsheng took the phone with a smile and did not care about it. But the moment he saw the photo, Qinsheng's mind went blank. He was instantly stunned, and he was even more lost than Xiaoding. Chapter 95. A Hot Pot. The monthly votes will be doubled these 2 days. Everyone, please vote more. I'm going to work hard in the second half of the month. Give me some motivation. People and things in the world seem to have their own destiny. Some people would never meet again after passing by, while some people would meet again even if they went through thousands of mountains and rivers. The story of Qinsheng and her happened in Chengdu. It had been almost 2 years. They met by chance but regretted not meeting each other earlier. Finally, they forgot each other. When they left, they promised not to contact each other again. If they were destined to meet each other again, they would say goodbye forever. She remembered that when they parted, Qinsheng said that if they were destined to meet each other again, he would definitely chase after her, whether she gave him a chance or not. She smiled and said, "Treat me to hot pot first." Qinsheng nodded and said yes. Then he watched her leave until she disappeared into the night. It had been almost 2 years since they parted. Qinsheng often thought of the woman who sometimes smiled in a daze, sometimes was silent, and sometimes could pick up a glass of wine and chat with him. Last time in the underground parking lot of the Guijin Center, Qinsheng saw a beautiful woman who looked like her. He thought it was her and followed her for a while. Unfortunately, he lost her in the end. Qinsheng smiled and thought that he missed her too much. He had thought about the scene of their meeting countless times. It could be in the snowy north or in a small town in the south. It could also be in an unknown bar where he was singing her favorite Southern girl with his guitar and she was drinking beer with a smile on her face. It could also be in a street at dusk where he turned around and saw her standing there, aloof from the world. However, he did not expect that he would see her picture first. What was more, he did not expect was that she was the goddess who made Xiaoding lose his soul. Not only was he dumbfounded, but he was also extremely embarrassed. Qinsheng fell into deep thought for a long time. Xiaoding, who was at the side, did not know what was going on. He thought that Qin Sheng was fascinated by his goddess. Well, who was his goddess? She was the dream lover of many men. Otherwise, how could she make him so embarrassed? Boss, haven't you seen enough? You're drooling. Xiaoding took the phone from Qin Sheng and said half-jokingly. It was not until then that Qin Sheng came back to his senses. He frowned and said, "You said that she was also there at the charity banquet last time?" "Yeah. Didn't you leave after that?" "She only appeared when the charity auction started. Only then did I find out that the charity foundation was set up by her and her friends. My goddess is compassionate, isn't she? You're the one who said that the kindest people are beautiful," Xia Ding said proudly. Qin Sheng squinted and said, "Do you know where she lives?" "Of course I know, but I didn't dare to wait for the goddess. I was afraid that she would be disgusted. However, I know where she works. I have an undercover agent in her company. I heard that she has been working overtime every day recently. She should still be in the company now." Xiaoding did not think much and told Qin Sheng directly. Qin Sheng said without hesitation, "Let's go and find her." For a moment, Xiaoding did not understand. His brain was still spinning. He pulled Qin Sheng and said, "Hey, wait. Big brother, what's going on? Why are you more anxious than me? And why are we going to look for her? I have already given up. Go after her," Qin Sheng said with a burning gaze. Xiaoding was even more confused. He replied, "Big brother, I said I have already given up. You still want me to go after her? I, Xiaoding, am not the kind of person who will do anything for a woman. It's just a woman. I can give up a big tree, but I still have a whole forest." Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "Not you. I want to go after her." Hearing this, Xiaoding did not react for a moment. He stared at Qin Sheng in disbelief and said, "Big brother, what did you say?" Qin Sheng repeated, "I said I want to go after her." "What the hell? Big brother, what's going on? My goddess, you want to go after her?" Xiaoding was stunned. He did not understand what was going on. What the hell was going on? Qin Sheng just remembered that he was too excited and did not explain to Xiaoding clearly. So he sat down, took a sip of water, and said, "Do you remember what I told you when I went to Tinshuaya last time?" "I remember. One of them was that I left you a woman's phone number and asked you to tell her that you can't get her the hot pot in this life," Qin Sheng said, not knowing whether to laugh or cry. Xiaoding looked surprised and said, "Big brother, don't tell me that that woman is my goddess." "That's the truth. She's your goddess." Qin Sheng did not deny it. He then said, "Is her name Lin Su from Ningbo?" Hearing this answer, Xiaoding directly fainted on the sofa and shouted, "F***CK God, are you kidding me? My goddess is actually boss's woman. Can this be any more ridiculous? F***CKU. F***CKU." Xiaoding was speechless. Qin Sheng scolded angrily, "Don't be crazy. Didn't you almost give up?" "I said so, but I'm a little unwilling to give up just like this. To think that I, Xiaoding, have pursued countless beauties in my life, but I actually failed here. Alas." Xiaoding shook his head and sighed. Qin Sheng hesitated for a moment and said, "Okay, since you are unwilling to give up, then you continue. I will not look for her. If you get her, I will completely forget what happened in the past. If you give up completely, then I will look for her." Hearing this, Xiaoding quickly stood up and said, "How can this be? Big brother, you two know each other first. I was just saying. I already said that I gave up, and I really gave up. She will definitely not like a playboy like me. No matter what I do, she will not take me seriously. All my advantages are **T in front of her. Besides, the rivals in love that I have found so far are too strong. I'm not their match at all. You two have a story in the past. She is so important to you. At least you have her in your heart. A gentleman does not snatch the beauty of others. If you can get her **CK, then you will definitely be my idol in the future." Qin Sheng opened a can of beer and said with a smile, "I met her at the most confused time of my life. We regretted not meeting each other earlier. Then we went to many places together. We got along very well, talking about astronomy, geography, culture, and history. There was nothing we did not talk about. But when we meet, we will part. When we parted, we said that we would not take the initiative to contact each other anymore. It would depend on fate. It has been almost 2 years, and we really did not contact each other. Maybe she has already forgotten me. But when we left, I said that if I met her again, I would definitely pursue her, whether she gave me a chance or not. She did not refuse, nor did she agree. She just asked me to treat her to a hot pot meal first. After listening to the story of Qin Sheng and his goddess, Xia Ding said thoughtfully, "Damn, so that's what happened. Big brother, it seems that after 2 years, you still can't forget her." Qin Sheng sighed and said, "In these 2 years, I occasionally think of her. After all, a woman who is like a confidant appeared in my life. I can't forget her even if I wanted to. Everyone wants to help each other in difficult times. It is only because we have no other choice that we forget each other." These words touched Xia Ding a little. He said directly, "Big brother, don't worry about it. For the sake of your marriage, I, Xia Ding, will definitely do my best. Wait for me here for a while. I will take a shower and change my clothes. Let's go find her now. I have already died on the battlefield. You have to fight for our dormitory 316. Pursuing a woman, Xia Ding made it seem like he was going to sacrifice his life for the country. Qin Sheng really did not know whether to laugh or cry, but he really had to thank Xia Ding. If it were not for this freak combination of factors, Qin Sheng might have Miss Lin Su again. Half an hour later, Xia Ding came out after taking a shower and changing his clothes. After contacting the undercover that he bought with a lot of money, he confirmed that the goddess was still in the company. So he drove the Aston Martin straight to Pudong Binjiang Avenue, Poly Square. "Big brother, you have reunited with an old friend. Have you thought about how to face the goddess?" Xia Ding was more concerned about the scene of Qin Sheng and Lin Su reuniting. Qin Sheng shook his head and said, "Calm down and face it calmly. I didn't think too much. Maybe it's too sudden. Do you need me to help you set up an especially romantic scene? We can't just go upstairs to look for her directly. I reckon we will be directly beaten out by the security guards," Xia Ding said eagerly. Qin Sheng knew that Lin Su had never liked this kind of style. He shook his head and rejected. "No need. I will wait for her downstairs." "All right. How's she go to work every day?" "Speaking of this, I'm also the most convinced. The goddess lives in Lujiazui Central Condominium next to the Shanghai Science and Technology Museum. It is next to Century Park. Every morning, she will jog for half an hour in the park and then take the bus to Poly Square. It is really green and environmentally friendly." Xia Ding was very impressed. The goddess's work and rest were very regular. Unless she had social engagements or something, she would go to work from 9 to 5 every day. He heard that the goddess's family background was not simple. It seemed like she was the local tyrant in Ningbo. It was really not easy to be so low-key. For Qin Sheng, this was within his expectations, so he was not surprised. "Send me downstairs in a while. I will wait for her downstairs. When the time comes, you can retreat first. We will contact each other later." Qin Sheng thought about it and arranged. Xia Ding said helplessly, "I say, big brother, don't put love before friendship. Are you just going to kick me away like this? At least let me witness a historical moment. Okay? Don't talk nonsense, do as I say." Qin Sheng was too lazy to care about him. Okay, whatever you say." Uffed. 10 minutes later, the Aston Martin stopped beside Poly Square. Xia Ding had already told Qin Sheng which building it was. Qin Sheng slowly walked to Block C of Poly Square. At this time, Poly Square was brightly lit. Many companies were working overtime. Qin Sheng sat on the bench on the lawn downstairs and waited. When he finished smoking 4 cigarettes, the woman that he had been thinking about day and night finally came out. Next to her were probably a few colleagues from the company. 2 years had passed, but she didn't seem to have changed at all. She was still the same as before. The cold wind blew her hair. Perhaps she felt a little cold, but she tightened her coat with a slight frown and tied the gray scarf she had knitted herself. Her colleagues beside her were talking and laughing, but she just smiled and said nothing. At this time, Qin Sheng was very excited. His heart began to beat faster. He did not know how long it had been since he had this feeling. It was like the first time he lied, the first time he confessed, the first time he went on stage to receive an award. He let out a long breath and gathered his courage. When the woman was about to walk next to him, he finally stood up and blocked their way. Chapter 96. Have you thought it through? During the period of double monthly votes, asking for monthly votes, asking for monthly votes. I always believe that we will meet again. Just like the fish belongs to the sea, the mountain welcomes the cool breeze, and the wanderer returns to his hometown. Although I don't know when it will be, I just believe that we will meet again. See, the day I have been waiting for has finally come. This poem expressed Qin Sheng's feelings at the moment. From the initial excitement, to the calmness after standing in front of her, to the familiar smile on her face, Qin Sheng finally returned to normal. Du Fu said, "Sick and alone often lead to loneliness. Meeting an old friend is not at ease." At the beginning, Qin Sheng was also afraid that he was not at ease enough. But after seeing her, this worry had disappeared. Just like when they first met, she said that meeting him for the first time was like returning an old friend. Now that they met again, it was needless to say that their feelings were even deeper. Lin Su did not have much spare time. Apart from work, she spent most of her time alone. She did not like crowds or social gatherings. Recently, she had been working overtime, basically leaving early and returning late. She was already used to this kind of life. Lin Su had a very harmonious relationship with the company's employees. Whether it was the management or the ordinary employees, they all liked her very much. Every day, they worked overtime together, got off work together, and waited for the bus together. At this moment, there were 3 women and 2 men coming out with Lin Su. Everyone was shocked by the sudden appearance of this uninvited guest. After hearing this extremely funny sentence, someone had already covered her mouth and giggled, as if she had heard a big joke. They had never seen this man in front of them, but they were sure that he was another new cannon fodder in the vast army of pursuers of Boss Lin. Everyone was already used to this, until the appearance of the great young Master Yin. This situation became better. After all, there were not many people in Shanghai who dared to offend the great young Master Yin. Everyone knew that the great young Master Yin and Boss Lin seemed to have engagement. Those who dared to pry into the great young Master Yan's woman would not be able to bear the consequences unless they had a very powerful background. However, in the past, those pursuers were either hedonistic sons or young masters. Even if they were financial tycoons or wealthy husbands, when they were pursuing Boss Lin, they would be extravagant or rather romantic. Who would directly stop Boss Lin and say, "Beauty, can I treat you to a hot pot meal? Is this a joke?" When Qin Sheng suddenly appeared, Lin Su was also startled. However, when she saw the appearance of the man in front of her clearly, she was slightly absent-minded. Then, a brilliant smile blossomed on her face in an instant. She opened her mouth and said, "Okay, I want to eat the most authentic Chengdu hot pot. Garlic, sesame oil, medium spicy." As soon as Lin Su said this, the other employees who wanted to see a joke were instantly stunned. What was going on? In the past, didn't Boss Lin reject these kinds of pursuers directly? Some time ago, there was a young master who drove an Aston Martin who waited for Boss Lin after work every day. In the end, he died without a trace and disappeared without a trace in the past 2 days. Today, this poor loser who was not handsome and looked poor. How did he win Boss Lin's heart? Was Boss Lin sick? "Long time no see," Qin Sheng said faintly, as if he had met an old friend. This sentence was the simplest and most truthful. Lin Su blinked her deep eyes and said, "I'm a little surprised. Every time you appear like this, it's like a sunny day a second ago and a torrential downpour the next second. It's always so unexpected. Isn't it a surprise?" Qin Sheng said half-jokingly. Lin Su teased, "It's more like a shock." The few employees finally understood. It turned out that this man in front of them was Boss Lin's friend. No wonder Boss Lin agreed. No matter how insensible they were, they also knew it was time to leave. So they said in unison, "Boss Lin, then we'll leave first." "Okay, see you tomorrow." Lin Su smiled and nodded. After Lin Su's colleagues left, Qin Sheng took the initiative and said, "Go to eat hot pot. Let's take a walk first. Tonight's night is not bad, although a little cold," Lin Su said casually. Poly Plaza was next to the Huangpu River. The two of them walked to the Huangpu River at a steady pace, like a couple taking a walk after work. Unfortunately, they were not a good match. After all, The lovely Lin Su was a few levels higher than the passerby, Qin Sheng. How did you find me? Lin Su was very curious. After all, they had been separated for 2 years. Qin Sheng suddenly appeared in front of her, which made her very surprised and a little cautious. Qin Sheng thought of that idiot Xia Ding and felt a little funny. He really had to thank him. What are you laughing at? You haven't answered my question. Lin Su did not understand. Qin Sheng held his head in his hands and leaned against the guardrail by the river. He replied, "Can I say that one of your pursuers is my university roommate? He was distracted by you. I just happened to see the photo, and then I knew you were in Shanghai." "I see. I thought you came all the way here just to see me," Lin Su said with interest. "Well, I'm a little disappointed. It seems that my charm is not strong enough. You only found me after 2 years." Qin Sheng knew that Lin Su was joking. When they were traveling together, she often joked with him. Qin Sheng explained slowly, "After you and I parted, I continued to go to many places and stopped for 2 years. It was not until late October that I returned to Shanghai. Moreover, when we parted, you said that you did not want me to take the initiative to contact you. If we are fated, we will meet again. How dare I not listen to you? If you want to blacklist me for life, it will not be worth it. I was just saying, did you take it seriously?" Lin Su said with a chuckle as her hair was blown by the cold wind. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "I think you are afraid that I am a playboy and will pester you. I have the same intention. But you are amazing. We did not contact each other for 2 years. I thought you have forgotten me, or you have disappeared from the world." Lin Su stared at Qin Sheng and smiled. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, "Even if I forget someone, it's impossible for me to forget you. After all, you and I used to sleep together, although nothing happened." This sentence made Lin Su blush instantly. She said coquettishly, "Do you believe that I will throw you into the Huangpu River to feed the fish?" "Yes." Qin Sheng immediately admitted defeat. This story was also interesting. At that time, they went to the Sea of Bamboo in South Chuan. It was the peak period for tourists. The only hotel with good conditions only had a big bedroom. Should they stay or not? In the end, they chose to stay. Originally, Qin Sheng wanted to sleep on the floor, but the weather was humid. Lin Su could not bear it, so she let Qin Sheng sleep on the bed. Chu He and Han did not cross the line. Who knew that Qin Sheng, who was too tired, really did not cross the line? He was a living hero and fell asleep. He was worse than a beast. Lin Su did not sleep for the whole night, for fear that Qin Sheng would do something crazy. Qin Sheng said softly, "I was also afraid that you would have forgotten me long ago. But now it seems that we are still fated. In a vast sea of people, after 2 years, we can still meet again. This shows that everything is destined." Qin Sheng said softly. Lin Su said disapprovingly, "Pretentious. That's it. Let's talk about you. How have you been in the past 2 years?" Qin Sheng asked with a smile. Lin Su sighed and said, "I am not like you, a prodigal son. Everywhere is your home. After coming back from Yunnan, I began to work step by step. In the past 2 years, I have been busy with work. It is not good or bad. I just take things as they come. This is not the Lin Su who is very assertive and thoughtful. How can you be so pessimistic?" Qin Sheng was a little surprised. Under the neon lights of the high-rise buildings, the two walked and stopped. On the Huangpu River, the cruise ship shuttled. The cold wind blew. The footsteps of the passers-by were more hurried than theirs. A couple was taking photos and asked Qin Sheng to help. Qin Sheng pressed the shutter, and inadvertently Lin Su also became the background. Continuing to walk forward, Lin Su sighed and said, "The older I get, the more things I worry about and the more I can't help myself. Sometimes I also want to leave everything and wander the world like you, but I can't make up my mind and find the courage. Me? Don't learn from me. If a man is like me 2 years ago, he is definitely unreliable. A man can't be greedy for comfort and enjoyment when he is young and not fight for it. When he is 30 and wants to face difficulties, he will have even less courage and strength. Basically, he will be set in stone for the rest of his life," Qin Sheng said in a neither hurried nor slow manner. Lin Su turned to look at Qin Sheng and said, "So, you mean you don't want to go on?" "No, I will be abandoned by life if I go on. Qin Sheng shook his head and replied. Lin Su said meaningfully, You will stay in Shanghai in the future? Yes, I will stay in Shanghai. Moreover, I met you again today. I can't leave even if I want to, Qin Sheng said half-jokingly. Lin Su stared at Qin Sheng fiercely. She did not know why. She had not seen Qin Sheng for 2 years. Seeing Qin Sheng again seemed to have no barriers. Just like 2 years ago, she said everything and had no scruples. Lin Su, are you married? Qin Sheng, who was walking in front, suddenly stopped and asked with some uneasiness. Although he guessed that she might not be married, he still felt uneasy without a definite answer. Lin Su was a little absent-minded and then laughed out loud. Why are you suddenly so serious? I'm a little not used to it. Answer the question first, Qin Sheng said hesitantly. Lin Su did not keep him in suspense. She shook her head and said, No. Then do you have a boyfriend? Qin Sheng continued to ask. Lin Su smiled and said yes. No. Qin Sheng asked back. Lin Su chose to be silent and did not answer. However, this also gave Qin Sheng an answer. Qin Sheng suddenly came to his senses. Why did he seem like an idiot? Lin Su was definitely not married and did not have a boyfriend. Otherwise, Xia Ding would spend so much effort to chase after her. With Xia Ding's ability, how could he not know this information? Don't tell me that you want to chase after me? Lin Su thought of what Qin Sheng said when they parted. She suddenly understood and said dumbfoundedly. Qin Sheng did not deny it. He nodded heavily and said, Yes, from today onwards, I will chase after you. This is the promise we made when we parted. Naturally, I will not go back on my words. They had not met for a long time, and they had not even been together for an hour. Qin Sheng said such words. It was indeed not careful enough. However, Lin Su also knew what kind of person Qin Sheng was. Chapter 97. White Rose hard to get, Qin Sheng said without hesitation. Even if the road is long, even if there are mountains of knives and seas of fire and bottomless abyss in front of me, I will still move forward without hesitation. No matter what the result is, at least I will not have any regrets in life. For Qin Sheng, life was like this. He could have regrets, but he could not have any regrets. A pessimistic optimist, Lin Su, who felt a little cold, said with her arms crossed. She did not dislike Qin Sheng. On the contrary, she had a good impression of him. The two of them had traveled a lot together and had many stories together. However, Lin Su did not want to make do with love and marriage, nor did she want to reject Qin Sheng, so she gave him a chance. Qin Sheng laughed at himself and said, Whether I can get you or not, I have to try. Well, since you said so, at least let me know about you first, Lin Su said with interest. She had been resisting the marriage arranged by her family. Maybe she was waiting for the man she liked to appear. Qin Sheng was silent for a while, thinking about how to introduce himself. After all, the two of them did not ask anything about each other at that time. It seemed that they had reached a tacit understanding. I grew up in Xi'an, and my grandfather and I depended on each other. I graduated from Fudan University in Shanghai and fell in love once. Before I graduated, my grandfather passed away. I started traveling for more than 2 years and returned to Shanghai in late October. Now I am the assistant manager of the reception department of a private club. As for the rest, you will get to know them slowly in the future. Qin Sheng tried to use the simplest words to summarize the first half of his life. Lin Su stepped on the grids on the ground and walked forward. Your family background is average. Your job is average. Your looks are average. And your education is passable. Compared to others, you have no advantage at all. Do you know what your rivals in love are like? In this secular and flashy society, if love and marriage can be built according to what you have said, then human beings do not need love at all. As for my rivals in love, first of all, I have to praise them for their foresight. Secondly, it shows that you are more charming. Lastly, a general success comes at the cost of tens of thousands of bones. I will carry forward the spirit of becoming braver the more I fight, or of refusing to admit defeat despite repeated defeats. I will strive to complete the long march. I hope I am not someone's cannon fodder, Qin Sheng said with great enthusiasm. At least there was no problem with this momentum. Lin Su was amused by Qin Sheng's serious look. What she said before was just a joke. She hoped that her love or marriage was married to love, not reality. That was why she was so against the current situation. Although their parents had not come to an agreement, and her grandmother also wanted her opinion, in fact, she also knew that unless she could find a boyfriend who was better than Yin Chaozong's family background, there would be no room for change. His courage is commendable, Lin Su commented. However, she was not an inexperienced little girl. Any man would say the same thing when they did not get what they wanted. Perhaps, after a series of setbacks, they might just give up. In the past, many pursuers had ended up like this. You're right. Qin Sheng stared at Lin Su with a playful look and said, After all, we are old friends. Can you give me some information and let me cut the queue? What do you want to know? Lin Su asked with bad intentions. Qin Sheng said casually, Hobbies. I'm a workaholic, and I like quiet. I love reading and listening to music. I travel alone occasionally. I run every morning, and I play tennis or go shopping with a few friends on weekends. I like single white roses the most, Lin Su said very generously. Qin Sheng smiled with satisfaction and said, Got it. Let's go eat hot pot. After chatting for so long, Qin Sheng felt that it was time to stop, otherwise Lin Su might be a little disgusted. No, it's too late. I usually don't eat at night. Lin Su declined politely. Qin Sheng frowned slightly and felt a little embarrassed. This was really a bad start. Tomorrow, I get off work early. You decide the place. You owe me a hot pot. I can't let you go back, Lin Su said with a faint smile when she saw Qin Sheng's expression. What a roller coaster ride. Qin Sheng smiled awkwardly and said, Okay, I'll listen to you. I'll send you back. Take the bus. You even know this? Lin Su squinted and asked suspiciously. Qin Sheng laughed and said, Don't forget, my college roommate used to pursue you. I really want to know who he is. Lin Su asked curiously. Qin Sheng deliberately kept her in suspense and said, You'll know when you see him in the future. Lin Su knew where to take the bus. She took Qin Sheng to the bus stop and did not refuse him to send her back. So Qin Sheng was now ahead of many competitors. If a woman was willing to let a man send her back, it meant that she had a good impression of this man. If she said at the door, Don't you want to go up and sit for a while, or go up to drink a cup of water, she would probably agree. However, when Qin Sheng sent Lin Su to the gate of the community, he did not hear this sentence. Obviously, it was impossible. Before leaving, Qin Sheng asked Lin Su, Is it the same phone number as before? Lin Su looked back and smiled. Try it and you'll know. It was said that love was the spice of life. Without love, life would be dull and tasteless. Qin Sheng did not know if he could accept this love. However, he would try his best. After all, he could not miss the chance to meet someone he liked. Qin Sheng did not know if he could accept this love. However, he would try his best. He called Xia Ding and told him that he was at the gate of Lu Jiazhui's central apartment and asked him to pick him up. Xia Ding shouted directly and rushed over. After seeing Qin Sheng, Xia Ding asked impatiently, Boss, what's going on? Don't tell me that you've already won my goddess? Qin Sheng stared at Xia Ding and said, What's going on in your head every day? You're just sending her home. Damn it, I can't accept it. I've chased after her for so long, but she doesn't even give me face. You can actually send her home. Tell me honestly, did something unknown happen between you two before? Xia Ding's heart was bleeding. He was really envious and jealous. Qin Sheng shrugged and said, You'll know in the future. Qin Sheng suddenly thought of something and then asked, By the way, do you know if there's a flower shop near Lu Jiazhui? What's the earliest time it opens? Xia Ding did not understand and said, Why are you asking this? It's to send flowers to the goddess. Isn't that too low? Do you want me to teach you a few tricks? I've thought a lot of ways. Don't talk nonsense. Tell me first, Qin Sheng said impatiently. Therefore, Xia Ding thought for a while and made a few more phone calls. He especially asked around Poly Square. Finally, he found a flower shop that opened at 7:30 every morning. It was not far from Poly Square, just a few minutes' walk. Qin Sheng asked Xia Ding to send him back. Along the way, Qin Sheng hummed a tune. Since returning to Shanghai, it was rare for him to be in such a mood. Xia Ding, who was beside him, had a depressed look on his face, as if someone had snatched away his beloved thing. However, he was open-minded and did not think too much about it. When returning to Shilin Huayuan, Chang Baji and Hao Lei were already back. Chang Baji had just taken a shower and was writing at the dining table, while Hao Lei was watching TV. Lao Chang, you've been very busy recently. I don't see you every day. Are you picking up girls? Qin Sheng smiled and joked. Chang Baji put down the things in his hands and looked up at Qin Sheng. People are in high spirits when they encounter happy events. You become the deputy manager. Your mood is really different. Isn't the deputy manager working for you? You're our deputy general manager. I'm just a small fry, Qin Sheng said happily. After all, Lao Chang was the deputy general manager of Shangshan Roashui, so he naturally knew about this. Chang Baji said disapprovingly, it's not certain who is working for whom. Qin Sheng no longer teased Chang Baji. He knew that Chang Baji was very busy recently. The security department had been reorganized by him from top to bottom. There had been a big change of personnel. It would naturally be different in the future. Walking to the living room, Qin Sheng poured a glass of water. Just when he was about to chat with Hao Lei and ask about Han Bing's situation, Hao Lei took the initiative to say, Qin Sheng, Su Qin looked for me today. Hearing this, Qin Sheng's face changed slightly. He put down the glass and said, why did she look for you? Hao Lei let out a sigh and said, after all, we are old friends. She treated me to a meal. I don't know how she knew that I was also in Shanghai and that I was with you, but they mostly talked about you. I think Su Qin still can't let you go. This was the first time he had seen Su Qin after so many years. It had been a long time since they last met. Recalling the memories of their high school days, Hao Lei sighed with emotion. At that time, Qin Sheng and Su Qin were the immortal couple that everyone envied. Times had changed. Now, things remained the same, but people had changed. Qin Sheng did not know how to answer and fell into silence. Is it possible for you to get back together? Su Qin is really good. Don't miss it, Hao Lei said kindly. Qin Sheng shook his head and said, let's not talk about this. I'm going to take a shower first. Hao Lei was stunned and did not continue to ask. Maybe Qin Sheng was avoiding. In the morning, Qin Sheng got up earlier than usual. After he had breakfast downstairs, he went directly to Lujiazui and found the flower shop that Xia Ding had mentioned yesterday. This flower shop was quite big. There were all kinds of flowers in it, and they were all the freshest every day. Sir, what flowers do you want to buy? The flower shop waitress asked politely. Qin Sheng asked, do you have white roses? Yes. The good-looking waitress nodded. Then she took Qin Sheng to the white roses and asked again, sir, you must be giving them to your girlfriend. I don't know how many you want, we have one. Qin Sheng did not wait for the waitress to finish and directly replied. The waitress was slightly disappointed, but she still politely helped Qin Sheng choose one. Qin Sheng asked if there was a vase, and the waitress took Qin Sheng to the vase area. There were dozens of vases of different sizes. After Qin Sheng repeatedly chose, he finally chose the simplest round glass vase. After paying the bill and leaving, Qin Sheng went straight to Lin Su's company in Poly Plaza. It was just past 8:30 p.m. Lin Su's company should have already started work. Last night, he had asked Xia Ding about which floor and which company it was. When he found Lin Su's company, fortunately, it was already open. Qin Sheng went in and was stopped by the receptionist. She asked, who are you looking for? Qin Sheng had already thought of a solution. He said, hello, I'm the delivery man of Yinyu Flower Shop. This flower is ordered by your boss Lin. May I know where her office is? The receptionist Beauty frowned slightly. It seemed that she had not heard this from boss Lin or the secretary. Qin Sheng saw that the receptionist was a little hesitant, so he quickly said, you can directly help me put this flower on your boss Lin's desk. She will know when she comes. Qin Sheng put the vase with a white rose on the front desk, bowed slightly, and said, thank you. I still have to send other flowers. I'll leave first. After Qin Sheng finished speaking, he did not give the receptionist a chance to ask and left directly. The receptionist Beauty was thoughtful and did not know what to do. Finally, she put the vase on boss Lin's desk. If Boss Lin asked, she would tell the truth. If she did not ask, it would mean that it was indeed ordered by Boss Lin. After finishing this matter, Qin Sheng came out of Poly Square and prepared to go to Shangshan Roshue to work. At 9 o'clock, Lin Su appeared at the company on time. When she walked into the office, she was subconsciously attracted by the white rose on the table. Lin Su had some doubts, so she called the secretary and asked, "Who put this flower here?" The receptionist said that a florist just sent it here and said that it was ordered by you, Boss Lin. The secretary explained, thinking that it was not ordered by Boss Lin. Lin Su frowned slightly and asked the secretary to call the receptionist. After asking what the florist looked like, she instantly understood what was going on. Chapter 98. Apologize. There were many colors of roses. Red roses represented love and passion. Pink roses represented affection and ambiguity, and white roses represented innocence and purity. There was no special reason why Lin Su liked white roses. It was not something that people often said. Perhaps every man had two women like this, at least two. If you married a red rose, over time, the red one would become a smear of mosquito blood on the wall, and the white one would still be the bright moonlight in front of the bed. If you married a white rose, the white one would be a rice sticky on your clothes, and the red one would be a cinnabar mole on your heart. What she liked was the innocence, purity, and simplicity of white roses. What was more interesting was that she did not like bunches of white roses, but only single white roses. "Boss Lin, aren't these the flowers you ordered?" The receptionist saw Boss Lin in a daze and thought that she had put the flowers on Boss Lin's desk, which made her angry. Lin Su, who came to her senses, smiled and said, "I ordered them. I just remembered them. It's okay. Go do your work." After the receptionist and the secretary left, Lin Su, who was sitting in the office chair, stared at the white roses in a daze. She hoped that her life was as innocent and pure as the white roses, not tainted by this materialistic society, and not associated with those hypocritical and dirty people. The more she thought about it, the funnier she felt. She did not expect that Qin Sheng was really a man of action. He said he would pursue her. She did not know if he was like those men in the past, who would give up after a short time. Lin Su promised Qin Sheng that he could pursue her, but she gave him a chance because she had a good impression of him. However, after all, she did not know him well at the beginning. The love she wanted was not love at first sight, but gradually discovering that this man could attract or conquer her so that she might accept him. If she got along with Qin Sheng slowly, Lin Su would feel that Qin Sheng was not the type she appreciated and liked, and she would naturally stop. At that time, no matter how hard Qin Sheng tried, she would not agree. If he kept pestering her, she would only hate him. Lin Su looked away and sent a text message to Qin Sheng. 5 simple words. "Thank you for your flowers." Last night, Qin Sheng asked Lin Su if her phone number was still the old one. Lin Su said that he would know after trying it. Obviously, she did not change it. However, she had forgotten to ask Qin Sheng if his phone number was still the same as before. After all, although she had saved Qin Sheng's number, they had never contacted each other. After they had parted ways in a hurry, neither of them had bothered each other. Fortunately, Qin Sheng had already used the number he had left for her. Not long after, he replied, "As long as you like it." After becoming the new deputy manager of the reception department, Qin Sheng had a lot of things to do. Wang Haichao and Yu Fengji used to be at loggerheads. Now that he had Qin Sheng as an enemy, he was very frustrated. Who knew that not long after Qin Sheng took office, Wang Haichao and Qin Sheng were at loggerheads again? The reason was that a friend of a member took advantage of an artist, and this artist happened to be familiar with Qin Sheng. She was Tang Wan, who was not sophisticated and simple. When Tang Wan ran out of the box crying, Qin Sheng was discussing with Liu Yuan about the reception process of an important dinner tomorrow. Since that conversation, Liu Yuan had let go of his dissatisfaction, which made a group of onlookers in Shangshan Roshue disappointed. However, Liu Yuan was dubious about Qin Sheng's words. If Qin Sheng could not do what he promised, then the relationship between them would be completely stiff, and they would not even be friends anymore. Song Siyu hurriedly ran to the box to find Qin Sheng and Liu Yuan. Mizzen and Mr. Su were not here today. At this time, only Qin Sheng could make decisions for Tang Wan. After all, Qin Sheng was also the deputy manager. Manager Qin, it's bad. Tang Wan was beaten by a guest. Song Siyu shouted anxiously. Qin Sheng and Liu Yuan's faces changed instantly. They immediately went to the box where the accident happened. Song Siyu also followed them. Today, a member came to sit with two friends. They had lunch here at noon. During the meal, the three people drank 3 bottles of Maodai. Men were strange animals. After the alcohol went to their head, their brain was out of control, and they always did some incredible things. The member was not serious. Every time he came, he would take advantage of the artists. After all, these artists were beautiful. According to the purpose of Shangshan Ruoshui, to serve the members, most of the artists turned a blind eye. Some may even flirt with each other. It was not guaranteed that they could catch a rich husband. There was such a situation in the past. The member molested Song Siyu. Song Siyu did not mind it. The friend of the member also had no scruples and directly held Tang Wan on his lap. Tang Wan had been dumped a while ago and had yet to recover from it. She was in a bad mood and struggled to get up. Who knew that the friend of the member wouldn't let go and even put his hand on Tang Wan's chest? The other two people also laughed unbridledly. Who knew that Tang Wan would subconsciously slap him? This matter became a big deal. The man lost his face and naturally got angry. He did not hesitate to slap Tang Wan twice. Tang Wan struggled and ran out crying. The member was also very angry and directly called Wang Haichao. Wang Haichao had never taken the artist seriously, so he quickly apologized after coming in and threw all the responsibility to Tang Wan. At this moment, he was shouting in the box, "Call Tang Wan here for me." It's really rebellious. If you don't want to do it, get out of here. Brother Zheng, don't be angry. I'll ask him to come over and apologize to you. After shouting at the artists next to him, Wang Haichao turned and apologized to the member in a low voice. Tang Wan, who had already run out, was dragged back by 2 artists at this time. Wang Haichao said angrily, "Tang Wan, what the hell do you want to do? You are really rebellious. You dare to hit him. Apologize to Brother Zheng and Brother Wu." Tang Wan, who was crying like a pear blossom in the rain, did not apologize or speak. She just stood there and sobbed. She knew that she had made trouble and probably could not stay in Shangshan Ruoshui anymore. At this time, Qin Sheng and Liu Yuan finally rushed over. On the way, Song Siyu had already told them what had happened. Qin Sheng came in and said coldly, "Why does Tang Wan want to apologize?" "Qin Sheng, what are you doing here? It's none of your business here." Wang Haichao saw Qin Sheng coming and said with a look of contempt. Qin Sheng asked, "I'm also a deputy manager. Why can't I come? Manager Su and Mizzen are not here. It seems that you're not in charge of Shangshan Ruoshui." "You." Wang Haichao pointed at Qin Sheng and swallowed the words, "Who do you think you are?" into his stomach. Then he sneered and said, "Well, anyway, Tang Wan is also your person. She hit Brother Zheng's friend. What do you think we should do about it?" "I already know what happened. What should I do? Tang Wan is not wrong. Why should she apologize? If she wants to apologize, it should be Brother Zheng's friend. If he doesn't hit her, will Tang Wan be angry?" Qin Sheng's tone was extraordinarily tough and directly pushed the problem to the other party. At this time, the box was full of people. In addition to the 3 guests and the 2 deputy managers, there were several artists. Qin Sheng knew that if this matter was not handled well, it would disappoint the artists, so he naturally did not hesitate to stand on the artist's side. "Qin Sheng, what did you say? Who do you think you are to ask my friend to apologize? Who do you think you are? Find me Su Lansheng." The bespectacled Brother Zheng said angrily. Those who could become a member of Shangshan Ruoshui were naturally rich and respectable. This Brother Zheng was Jiang Xianban's partner, a financial tycoon. His 2 friends were both executives of the banking system. They were all rich and enjoyed all kinds of women. They always felt that they could find all kinds of women with money, let alone artists like Shangshan Ruoshui. Qin Sheng directly made the decision and said, "Manager Su is not here. I will deal with this matter today." "You deal with it? Can you handle it?" Wang Haichao laughed out loud. Qin Sheng really thought too highly of himself. He could not wait for Qin Sheng and Brother Zhang's relationship to be even worse. At that time, even Ms. N and Mr. Su could not protect him. When Big Boss was angry, not everyone could stop him. Brother Zheng did not get angry. Instead, he laughed and said, "Okay, you deal with it. How are you going to deal with it? Brother Zhang's friend apologizes to us, and this matter will be over," Qin Sheng said. Wang Haichao immediately stood up and said, "Let Brother Zhang's friend apologize to Tang Wan. Tang Wan is nothing. You should know that she hit Brother Zhang's friend first." Qin Sheng suppressed his anger. This snobbish Wang Haichao was really *ket up. If Wang Haichao did not give him face, Qin Sheng really wanted to kick him away. In his eyes, artists were not people. Only these members whom he flattered were people. Why did Tang Wan hit him? This is Shanshan Ruashui, not a nightclub. Don't forget how to write the word man after drinking a little, Qin Sheng said sternly. When Brother Zhang's friend heard this, his face changed instantly. He directly pulled Qin Sheng's collar and said, "What did you say? Say it again. Do you think I don't know what kind of people you Shanshan Ruashui artists are? You come out to sell yourself. Why do you want to build a reputation?" The group of artists had ugly expressions on their faces. "Let go," Qin Sheng said coldly. Brother Wu was also drunk. Besides, in the banking system, everyone in front of him was flattering him. Being pointed at his nose and scolded by Qin Sheng, how could he not be angry? He said forcefully, "F***CK, make it clear first. I'll say it again, let go." Qin Sheng was not angry, but laughed. Brother Wu was still cursing and did not intend to let go of Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng directly grabbed his wrist with one hand and grabbed his armpit with the other. He bent his legs slightly and suddenly exerted his strength, instantly smashing Brother Wu's small body onto the ground. "I said let go," Qin Sheng said calmly. For a moment, the whole box was in an uproar. All the artists were angry by this man and Wang Haichao's words just now. They were waiting for someone to teach him a lesson. They did not expect that the next second, Manager Qin took action. This action was really cool. "Qin Sheng, what the F***CK are you doing?" Wang Haichao was shocked, but he was very happy in his heart. "This is your F***king death." Qin Sheng pointed at Wang Haichao's nose and said angrily, "F***CK, shut up, or I will destroy you." Qin Sheng's eyes were very scary. Wang Haichao was directly stunned and did not even dare to fart. "What do you want?" The farce became more and more serious, and Brother Zheng said angrily. Qin Sheng said slowly, "Brother Zheng, it's very simple. Your friend apologizes, and this matter will be over. If your friend does not apologize, it's fine. Shanshan Ruashui is not a place where anyone can act wildly. If not, we will go through the legal way." Chapter 99. Admit defeat. People should have a sense of propriety. They should treat themselves as human beings and not lose their dignity and backbone. They should treat others as human beings and not be too domineering and arrogant. They all had two eyes and one nose. It was not easy for them to live, so no one should make things difficult for each other. But there were always some people in this society who thought that they could throw money at the whole world just because they had money. They thought that they could change the portrait of Tiananmen just because they had a little background. Their feet were not on the ground, but their eyes could turn to the sky. They bullied those who were not as good as them and catered to those who were stronger than them. This kind of people had long lost their conscience. In Qin Sheng's eyes, these men in front of him were the same kind of people. Whether it was Brother Wu, the party involved, or Brother Zheng, who was a member, they all thought that with their status and background, why should they apologize to a little artist? Who was she? They would not apologize today. What could they do? It was nothing more than a matter of face, nothing more than a matter of fighting for pride. But while they were fighting for this face, Qin Sheng was also fighting for it. He was fighting for Tang Wan, for all the artists and childs in the reception department. He was fighting for dignity. Well, if you don't apologize, then don't think about walking out of Shanshan Ruashui. Qin Sheng shouted loudly, and then turned to Liu Yuan and said, "Brother Liu, call the police. Since you don't want to settle it privately, let the police handle it." "Qin Sheng, are you crazy?" Hearing that he was going to call the police, Wang Haichao scolded. Wasn't this a slap in Shangshan Ruoshui's face? Those men who had drunk were instantly enraged by Qin Sheng. Brother Zheng took the lead and said, "Then I want to see. Can you stop me?" After that, Brother Zheng was about to walk out, followed by his two friends. Qin Sheng stretched out his hand to stop them. Brother Zheng did not say anything and came up to Qin Sheng with a punch. To him, Qin Sheng was nothing. How dare he stop them? Even if they beat him, Shangshan Ruoshui would not do anything to them. Would Shangshan Ruoshui offend the members for a small deputy manager? Brother Zheng had drunk too much and was staggering when he walked, not to mention hitting people. Qin Sheng dodged sideways and stretched out his legs slightly, tripping Brother Zheng to the ground. The other two men saw that Qin Sheng was making a move again. They did not care about the consequences and rushed toward Qin Sheng at the same time. However, they were not Qin Sheng's match at all. Qin Sheng easily knocked them down on the ground. The whole box was in complete chaos. All the artists retreated to the outside of the box. Wang Haichao's brain had short-circuited. This Qin Sheng was really looking for death. He actually dared to hit a member. At this time, the security department had heard the news and came over. The leader was Chong Baji. He had just returned and was just in time to watch the show. Seeing that Chong Baji had come, Wang Haichao seemed to have found his savior and hurriedly complained, Mr. Chong, please take care of this. Something big has happened. Qin Sheng is too lawless. He actually beat up a member. It was a pity that he did not know the relationship between Chong Baji and Qin Sheng at all. Chong Baji did not care who was right or wrong. As long as they dared to fight with Qin Sheng, even if Jiang Xianbang was here, he would still beat them up, not to mention a few so-called members. He directly ordered his subordinates, control all of them. Damn it, how dare they rebel? What do they think this is? Wang Haichao looked confused. What was going on? Why was Chong Baji on Qin Sheng's side instead of the members? What was he going to do? Seeing that the situation was not good, Wang Haichao quickly ran out and immediately called Su Lansheng and Mizzen for help, in case the matter became more and more serious. Secondly, he not only made trouble for Qin Sheng, but also made a contribution. This wishful thinking was good. How dare you hit me? You're asking for death. Believe it or not, I will disable you. Brother Zheng was held by two security guards by his arms. No matter how he resisted, it was useless. He shouted loudly. Qin Sheng snorted, I don't believe it. But you can try. At that time, it is not certain who will disable who. After all, your life is more valuable than mine. Several men took turns to do all kinds of curses. Chong Baji was a little annoyed. He went up and gave Brother Wu a kick. Brother Wu knelt on the ground and groaned painfully. The other two men instantly shut up. At this time, they knew that these people in Shangshan Ruoshui were serious. Qin Sheng did not want to make the matter bigger, but these people were stubborn and did not take him seriously. Then he would let them suffer a little. Anyway, he could not relax today. Even if they were out of Shangshan Ruoshui, they could do whatever they wanted. Again, apologize. After this matter is over, you can leave. When you're out of the gate, if you want to continue, I will wait. If you don't apologize, then well, call the police and we will settle it. Qin Sheng repeated his principle again. Calling the police was definitely not possible. No matter what, they were the ones who started it first. At that time, if everyone knew about it, they would be even more embarrassed. If they did not call the police or apologize, they could only suffer here. They could not ask for help even if they wanted to. When people were at a disadvantage, they would always say that a wise man does not fight when the odds are against him. A man should know when to yield and when to stand tall. Especially these men with backgrounds and identities, some things could be solved under the stage, but not on the stage. Brother Wu glanced at Brother Zheng and directly said, I apologize. Obviously, they admitted that they were cowards, but only in front of them. After this, they would definitely find a way to make Qin Sheng die. Not only would he not be able to stay in Shangshan Ruoshui, but also in Shanghai. If you apologized earlier, we wouldn't have so many conflicts. Qin Sheng smiled and said, Tang Wan, come in, Brother Wu wants to apologize to you. Tang Wan walked in with red eyes. Things had developed beyond her imagination. She thought that no one would help her, and she would definitely not be able to stay in Shangshan Roashue anymore since she hit the VIP member. She did not expect that Qin Sheng would stand up for her. However, Qin Sheng had made such a big fuss, and according to the style of Shangshan Roashue, Qin Sheng would probably leave. Thinking that she was also involved in Qin Sheng, Tang Wan felt even more guilty and wronged. Manager Qin, let's forget about it, Tang Wan whispered. Qin Sheng shook his head and said, Tang Wan, don't be afraid. I will help you. Everyone has parents. You can't let others bully you. Qin Sheng looked up at Brother Wu, indicating that he wanted to apologize. What are you waiting for? Miss Tang, I'm sorry. I shouldn't have touched you, and I shouldn't have hit you. I hope you can forgive me. Brother Wu's face was extremely ugly, but he still forced himself to finish his words. Tang Wan stood there and did not know what to say. She was very embarrassed. Qin Sheng waved his hand and said, Go ahead. Tang Wan walked out of the private room in a hurry. Qin Sheng waved at the security guards and said, What are you doing? Hurry up and let go of these distinguished guests. Go make some top-notch pu'er tea. I'll apologize to them right now. The security guards only listened to Chang Baji and did not pay attention to Qin Sheng at all, which was a little embarrassing. Fortunately, Chang Baji winked and the security guards let go. No, I really dare not drink this tea. Brother Zheng suppressed his anger, but did not dare to vent it. He said gloomily, Let's go. Therefore, Brother Zheng left with his two friends with a belly full of grievances and anger. Qin Sheng naturally did not stop them and let them go. As soon as the people involved left, this matter finally came to an end. The artists present knew that although Qin Sheng protected their dignity, these men would definitely not let him go. After all, they knew the big boss. It was estimated that Qin Sheng would be fired by Shangshan Ruoxue. Alas, it was a pity that he just became the deputy manager and was about to leave. At the same time, everyone had a question. That was, since Vice President Chang was here, why did he allow Qin Sheng to mess around like this? Why did he stand firmly on Qin Sheng's side and did not care about anything himself? Moreover, he even gave the initiative to Qin Sheng. No matter how they thought about it, they could not figure it out. Let's go. Do what you need to do, Qin Sheng said to the many artists at the door. The crowd dispersed, and the security guards also followed. Only Qin Sheng and Chang Baji were left. Chang Baji did not know whether to laugh or cry. You are still so impulsive. I guess Ms. and Su Lanqing will be angry because of you. Qin Sheng said disapprovingly. So be it. At worst, I can quit my job. But there are some things that I have to do. This is my principle and bottom line, which is more important than this job. This was his usual style. Many people would naturally say that people like Qin Sheng would definitely not be able to survive in this society. He was too principled and would not be popular. But for Qin Sheng, it could not be said that this society was like this. He should jump into the mud and associate with them. In this way, no matter how good he was, he would not be the original person. Chang Baji smiled and did not say anything. This was also one of the things he admired about Qin Sheng. This was too little in today's society. When Qin Sheng and Chang Baji walked out of the box, they ran into Wang Haichao, who was rushing back. Wang Haichao already knew the result of the incident and reported it to Ms. In and Su Lanqing. He said to Qin Sheng with a gloating look, Qin Sheng, you're finished now. Get ready to pack up and leave. Wang Haichao was sure that the matter was so big that the big boss probably knew about it. No one could protect Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng saw that this guy was really annoyed. He directly scolded, Get out. The word get out made Wang Haichao so angry that his scalp was about to explode. But he did not dare to talk back. After all, he had seen Qin Sheng's skills just now. If he really fought with Qin Sheng, it was estimated that he would be at a disadvantage. So he simply endured it and did not lower himself to Qin Sheng's level. Anyway, he had to get out today. Back to the office, Qin Sheng did what he should do as if nothing had happened. Everyone looked at him strangely, but a few artists said thank you to Qin Sheng in private. In their eyes, today Qin Sheng was absolutely a pure man with a kind of heroic spirit. Although others did not say it, they also admired Qin Sheng very much in their hearts. Half an hour later, Su Lancheng and Mizzen arrived at Shangshan Ruoshui one after another. Qin Sheng was directly called into the box upstairs. Wang Haichao and Chang Baji also followed him in. Yu Fengji was on leave today, otherwise it would be more lively. Just when everyone was ready to watch the show, a Rolls-Royce drove into Shangshan Ruoshui. This license plate was too familiar. Everyone knew that this was the car of the big boss. Chapter 100. Help, begging for monthly votes, begging for collection, hope everyone can support. When the big-bellied big boss Jiang Xianbang staggered out of the car and walked into Shangshan Ruoshui, everyone was silent. Everyone knew that the big boss looked kind, but in fact, he was cruel and domineering. No one dared to offend him. The artist at the door nodded and said, "Mr. Jiang, where is Su Lancheng?" Jiang Xianbang happened to pass by Sinan Road. Xiao Zheng had called him just now, and Su Lancheng had also reported it. Jiang Xianbang took a walk on the way, so that Su Lancheng and Qin Sheng would not fight. The artist at the door whispered, "Mr. Jiang, they are in the box on the 3rd floor." Jiang Xianbang put his hands behind his back and walked to the 3rd floor with a smile on his face. The way he walked was really like a penguin, but when the penguin ate people, it would definitely not spit out the bones. The man who was the driver and the bodyguard followed closely behind, quietly looking at the artists and child around. There were 4 bodyguards outside the door, all of whom were hired by money. Jiang Xianbang had offended many people over the years. He did not want to live to make money without spending it. Not far from the lobby on the 1st floor, Liu Yuan and Song Siu were comforting Tang Wan. Tang Wan could not stop crying and said, "It's all my fault. I hurt Qin Sheng. It's all my fault." Song Siu helped Tang Wan wipe her tears and sighed. "It has happened. Tang Wan, don't blame yourself. Maybe no matter who it is today, Qin Sheng will do the same." Liu Yuan agreed with this sentence very much. Today, he saw another side of Qin Sheng, and for the first time, he admired this man from the bottom of his heart. If it were him, he would definitely not dare to do this. Maybe he would abandon Tang Wan like Wang Haichao. "Brother Liu, see you. Do you think Qin Sheng will hate me? I made him lose his job," Tang Wan said very guiltily. Liu Yuan shook his head and said, "He is not that kind of person." Anyway, the 3 of them had already given up hope. Even the big boss was alarmed. It was estimated that Qin Sheng and Tang Wan would be fired by Shangshan Ruoshui. Perhaps many people would feel that it was not worth it and felt that it was not worth it for Qin Sheng. Although they admired and appreciated Qin Sheng, they would think that Qin Sheng was stupid. Was it worth it for an artist? In this society, when most people do something, they would only weigh the pros and cons. They wouldn't distinguish right from wrong. Just like what Han Han said in the movie, only children would distinguish right from wrong. Adults would only distinguish between the pros and cons. Therefore, most people would end up living worse than a dog. The largest box on the 3rd floor was in the style of the Republic. The tables and chairs were collectible. The calligraphy and paintings on the wall were the works of modern masters. The calligraphy and paintings were hung on the wall. Every small salon or event would be held here, but only the top members had the right. Su Lancheng's face was livid. This time he was really provoked by Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng dared to hit a member and even reported it to the big boss. This was absolutely a taboo in Shangshan Ruoshui. There was only one purpose in Shangshan Ruoshui, which was to serve the members. Even if the members were wrong, they had to bear it. "You are really lawless. Look at what you have done. Do you know the rules of Shangshan Ruoshui?" Su Lancheng pointed at Qin Sheng's nose and shouted angrily. Wang Haichao added oil to the fire and added, "Mr. Su, I couldn't stop him. He even wanted to hit me. You don't know the scene." Brother Zheng and his 2 friends were directly beaten to the ground by Qin Sheng. If Mr. Chong did not arrive in time, things would have been more serious. Wang Haichao dared to hit Qin Sheng when he was down, but he dared not to offend Chang Baji, the vice president, unless he wanted to die. So he said so and flattered Qin Sheng. Mizzen, who was standing not far away, had a look of contempt. She disliked Wang Haichao more and more. This man was too smart and shrewd. He was always unwilling to suffer losses. Wang Haichao said so, But then he was severely slapped by Chang Baji. Chang Baji said lightly, "I don't think Qin Sheng did anything wrong." Wang Haichao's face was full of what? Mizan and Su Lanqing were also a little surprised. Su Lanqing knew very little about this vice president. He had been in the company for so long. Except for the matters of the security department, he had never asked about it. Unexpectedly, today he did not hesitate to stand on Qin Sheng's side. Thinking that Chang Baji was also sent by Mr. Jiang, could it be that he was the guard that Mr. Jiang gave to Qin Sheng? Shangshan Ruoshui has its rules. These members are also distinguished. Are artists not human? As manager Qin said, "What kind of place is Shangshan Ruoshui? This is not a nightclub. Artists can't be bullied by them." The friend of member Zheng is a little too presumptuous. If manager Qin did not stand up for the artists, they would be disappointed, Chang Baji said slowly. Chang Baji tried to smooth things over for Qin Sheng. Su Lancheng could not make Chang Baji lose face. He could only say, "Then how do you think this matter should be handled? If it is not handled well, it will affect other members. Things have happened, and they have apologized. We can only stand on manager Qin's side. If they don't let it go, we can go through legal channels," Chang Baji continued. Su Lancheng squinted and asked, "Then tell me, how do we explain to Mr. Jiang?" As soon as Su Lancheng's voice fell, Jiang Xianbang pushed the door and came in. Su Lancheng thought it was someone else and subconsciously shouted, "Didn't I say that no one is allowed to come in? Did you all ignore my words?" "Old Su, you are so old, but still so hot-tempered," Jiang Xianbang said with a smile. When everyone saw Jiang Xianbang, their faces changed slightly. Su Lancheng and others bowed their heads and said respectfully, "Mr. Jiang." Jiang Xianbang waved his hand and said, "You all go out. Old Su and Little Qin stay. I want to hear what is going on." Little Zheng called me and said that Shangshan Ruoshui is too much and he must explain it. Wang Haichao was overjoyed. Even the big boss was alarmed. This matter was really big. It was estimated that not only would Qin Sheng be fired, but he would also have to pay the price. Everyone knew that the big boss was not simple in handling matters. Alas, poor Qin Sheng. Chang Baji looked at Jiang Xianbang and knew that this matter could not be big. Jiang Xianbang would not let Qin Sheng suffer losses. He followed Ms. In and Wang Haichao and left. When everyone left, Jiang Xianbang looked at Qin Sheng and said, "You tell me, what is going on? I asked you to come to Shangshan Ruoshui, not to make trouble." Qin Sheng's face was calm, and he told the story truthfully. "Oh, I thought it was a big deal. It's just a small matter. Little Zheng, what does he think Shangshan Ruoshui is?" Jiang Xianbang waited for Qin Sheng to finish and said lightly, which was equivalent to supporting Qin Sheng. After hearing this, Su Lancheng's face was very bad, but he was patient. "But, Qin Sheng, you are too impulsive. Why can't you talk it out? Why do you have to fight? Even little Zheng complained to me." Jiang Xianbang took care of Su Lancheng and then said, "Old Su, deduct all of Qin Sheng's salary this month. Don't let him be impulsive in the future. I will listen to Mr. Jiang." Su Lancheng nodded silently. Although it was a punishment for both sides, Jiang Xianbang still did it for Qin Sheng. "Mr. Jiang, what about Mr. Zheng?" Su Lancheng asked. Jiang Xianbang waved his hand and said, "You don't have to worry about this. I will give him an explanation." Since Jiang Xianbang took the initiative to take care of this matter, Su Lancheng was relieved. Although he was dissatisfied with Qin Sheng, Shangshan Ruoshui was Mr. Jiang's business. Everything was up to the big boss. "Well, old Su, go to your work. I have something to talk to Qin Sheng." Jiang Xianbang smiled. Su Lancheng bowed slightly, looked at Qin Sheng, who was neither humble nor arrogant, and left thoughtfully. "You, how old are you? Can you not let me clean up your mess in the future?" Jiang Xianbang said impatiently. "This is me supporting you. Shangshan Ruoshui is also my business. If you were in other places, I guess you would have been fired long ago. Who can guarantee that people will come back and plot against you? Can you not offend people? I just do what I think is right. As for the rest, I will deal with it." Qin Sheng said disapprovingly. Everyone had their own way of living. This was his choice. Jiang Xianbang said helplessly, "Well, I know you will say this. People like you will be killed by their own principles sooner or later. Some people are alive, but they have been dead for many years. Some people are at least more dignified when they die than when they are alive, Qin Sheng retorted bluntly. Jiang Xianbang sat on the sofa, knocked his knees, and snorted. Don't talk about your big ideas. Let me tell you something serious. I may need your help to do something. You say, good things can be done, but not bad things. Qin Sheng also sat on the sofa, lit a cigarette, and crossed his legs. Jiang Xianbang did not pay attention to Qin Sheng's words. He frowned and thought for a moment. Something happened in Hangzhou. You go and help me deal with it. One of my confidants is missing. I don't know whether he is dead or alive. He knows too much about me. I can't let him fall into the hands of others. Also, I asked someone to get something from him. Help me get back. Why me? Qin Sheng was somewhat puzzled. It was not a problem to help Jiang Xianbang, but he had to figure out the situation. Jiang Xianbang said meaningfully, I don't trust others. There are some things that only you know. If you find him and nothing happened, it would be best. If he has betrayed me, you directly help me to get rid of him. You want me to kill someone? Qin Sheng's face changed slightly. Jiang Xianbang shook his head and said, You don't have to kill him. You are not going alone. I have arranged people for you. You'd better be careful. I guess someone is going to mess with me. Where do we set off? Qin Sheng did not refuse. Jiang Xianbang thought for a moment and said, We can't delay it too long. It's best to go tonight. What about Shangshan Ruoshui? Qin Sheng asked. Jiang Xianbang smiled and said, Isn't this just a good excuse? Just say that you will lose your salary for a month and be suspended for a week as punishment. I will tell old Su later. I was wondering why you would come here in person for such a small matter. It turns out that you have other plans. Qin Sheng snorted. This old fox always had bad intentions. You go back directly and pack up. I will tell your side. Someone will contact you then. Okay. Qin Sheng directly got up and was ready to leave. Jiang Xianbang pulled Qin Sheng and said, Remember, be careful. Don't lose your life. And don't tell anyone about this, including Chang Baji. Chapter 101. I might have to go. Jiang Xianbang started from digging tombs and reselling cultural relics. Now, he had reached the pinnacle. This road was full of thorns. Only Jiang Xianbang himself knew how much he had to pay and how many people he had offended. What Jiang Xianbang knew was that the higher he stood, the more people would want him to fall. Especially when the big shot behind him lost his power. Those who had been trampled under his feet in the past would rise up and attack him. Even if he had not offended them, they would take advantage of him when he was down for their own interests. That was why Jiang Xianbang wanted to groom a successor. Firstly, as he said, he had spent his whole life to build such a big business, so someone had to inherit it. Secondly, those who had risen along with him all these years couldn't wait for him to fall and be implicated. Unfortunately, Jiang Xianbang was really unlucky and did not meet young people who were worth training until the appearance of Qin Sheng, who let him see hope. Qin Sheng had several advantages. First, Jiang Xianbang and Old Master Qin had a relationship. Second, Qin Sheng was calm and had a sense of propriety. Sometimes he was decisive and ruthless, such as killing Zhou Wenwu. So his comprehensive strength was not bad. Finally, in Jiang Xianbang's heart, Old Master Qin was a big man. He could cultivate a grandson like Qin Sheng. How could he not pave the way for him? However, Jiang Xianbang would not be so anxious to cultivate Qin Sheng. He would respect Qin Sheng's choice and let him gradually integrate into his circle. Secondly, he would continue to observe Qin Sheng's ability. After all, anyone could make a mistake. This matter was also a training for Qin Sheng. Especially this time the matter was more complicated and involved gray areas, so it was more important to see Qin Sheng's ability. After saying this, Jiang Xianbang left Shangshan Ruoshui. As for the small things that happened today, it was not a big deal for him. He was just a small partner, so he would get him face. After Jiang Xianbang left, Su Lancheng called all the management to the office and announced in public that Qin Sheng would be suspended for a week and fined a month's salary. But he also comforted Qin Sheng, saying that Qin Sheng's original intention was not wrong and also for the artists in Shangshan Ruoshui, but he was a little impulsive. This made Wang Haichao very disappointed. He had thought that Qin Sheng would be fired. He did not expect that Qin Sheng would only be suspended for a week and find his salary for a month. However, this was the big boss's decision. No matter how dissatisfied Wang Haichao was, he could not change it. However, Wang Haichao was also very happy. This matter had suppressed Qin Sheng, who had always been high profile. In the future, he would not dare to be so unscrupulous in Shangshan Ruoshui. As for Mizan, Su Longqing's previous words made her guess that Qin Sheng might be related to the big boss. When the big boss showed up today and the final result, Mizan was even more sure of her guess. After being suspended for a week, Qin Sheng returned to the locker room to change his clothes and was ready to leave. Everyone in Shangshan Ruoshui had already known the punishment decision. Liu Yuan ran over with Tang Wan and Song Siyu, but Tang Wan did not receive any punishment, which made Tang Wan feel more guilty. Manager Qin, I'm sorry. It's all my fault. You've been wronged. Tang Wan was always crying. Qin Sheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. It's not a big deal. Why are you crying like this? I'm not fired. I'm just suspended for a week. I'm a little tired recently. I'll take it as a relaxation. Manager Qin, you will be my idol in the future. Song Siyu was good at talking and flattered. Qin Sheng said disapprovingly, your idol has been suspended. You dare not learn from me. Liu Yuan came over and patted Qin Sheng's shoulder. You boy, I really didn't misjudge you. You have more guts than me. If it were me, I would definitely not dare to do that. Now I think you are more suitable to be a manager than me. At least, you really stand in our position. People have things to do and things not to do. No matter who it is today, I will do the same. If there is another situation in the future, I will still do the same. I can lose my job, but I can't lose my bottom line. Qin Sheng said lightly. After changing clothes, Liu Yuan, Tang Wan, and Song Siyu sent Qin Sheng out. Qin Sheng smiled and said, I'm not in this week. You all keep a low profile. If Wang Haichao makes trouble for you, ask Vice President Chong for help. In everyone's puzzled expression, Qin Sheng walked away. It was already 5 o'clock. Qin Sheng remembered that he seemed to have promised Lin Su to eat hot pot today. He had been busy just now and did not look at his mobile phone. After taking out his mobile phone, as expected, Lin Su sent him a text message more than an hour ago. It was a simple 4 words, time and place. Seeing these 4 words, Qin Sheng's mood just now was swept away. He quickly dialed Lin Su's phone. It did not take long for the phone to be connected. Qin Sheng said, half-jokingly, strong woman, don't you work overtime today? It seems that you want to refuse this hot pot? Lin Su, who had just finished the meeting, chuckled. Qin Sheng had not replied to the text message. She thought he should be busy, so Lin Su did not take it seriously. Qin Sheng continued to tease Lin Su and said, I thought you were just joking yesterday. I heard from my college roommate that he asked you out for half a month, but you ignored him. If he knows that you eat hot pot with me, I don't know if he will hate me. Okay, then I will continue to work overtime. Lin Su snorted. Hearing this, Qin Sheng quickly said seriously, Okay, I was wrong. I will find a place first and then wait for you. I will text you the place later. After hanging up the phone, Qin Sheng immediately turned on his mobile phone and searched for the delicious hot pot in Chengdu and Chongqing. In the end, he chose Xilonkan Hot Pot, which was just at the crossroads of Huaihai East Road and Zizing South Road. It was at most 20 minutes from Poly Square, which was relatively convenient for Lin Su. When he arrived at the place, he did not expect that there would be a long line. Fortunately, he came relatively early. There were only more than 20 tables in front of him. Qin Sheng queued up and waited for Lin Su. When he was queuing up, Qin Sheng received a call from the person in charge of contacting him in Hangzhou. The man on the other side of the line said in a deep voice, Mr. Qin, I am Zhao Quan. Mr. Jiang asked me to contact you. When will you arrive in Hangzhou so that I can pick you up? I have something to do now. I haven't bought the ticket yet. When I confirm, I will tell you, Qin Sheng said thoughtfully. The man's voice was very cold and made people shudder. The man called Zhao Quan replied, Okay, say my number. We will contact each other later. I won't bother you anymore. After hanging up the phone, Qin Sheng fell into deep thought. How troublesome was it that Jiang Xianbang asked him to go to Hangzhou in person? In fact, Qin Sheng was somewhat resistant, especially when Jiang Xianbang said that he wanted to get rid of that man. When returning to the city, Qin Sheng told himself that unless it was absolutely necessary, he must not get involved in blood. Zhou Wenwu was special because he really provoked Qin Sheng. What happened this time? Qin Sheng did not know. Just when Qin Sheng was in a daze, Lin Su had already arrived. She waved to Qin Sheng from afar and greeted him. However, Qin Sheng did not see her at all. After walking closer, she found that Qin Sheng was in a daze. Are you thinking about that, beauty? Lin Su, who was wearing high heels, patted Qin Sheng and said. Qin Sheng came back to his senses and smiled awkwardly. Hee, I was thinking about something and got distracted. I said hello to you. Why did you ignore me? Someone said yesterday that I am very charming, Lin Su said with a slight smile. Qin Sheng had a playful look on his face. Whether you are charming or not, you will know it by looking at the eyes of the surrounding men. I wonder how many men will go back and kneel on the washboard tonight. This was the truth. Since Lin Su came in, the eyes of the men in the line at the door were staring at Lin Su. They sighed that they did not come in vain today. They actually met such a beautiful woman. This beautiful appearance, tall figure, outstanding temperament, and the taste of the clothes. She was really not an ordinary beauty. But when Lin Su stood in front of Qin Sheng, these men sighed bitterly. It was really like a flower inserted in cow dung. All the good cabbages were eaten by pigs. Washboards are not popular now. They are all directly put into the washing machine, Lin Su said softly. Qin Sheng sighed. Women are the most vicious. When Qin Sheng was about to get up and let Lin Su sit down, the waiter called their number. He subconsciously pulled Lin Su's arm and said, You are so lucky. It is our turn as soon as you arrive. Lin Su frowned slightly. Although she felt uncomfortable, she did not struggle. Fortunately, after a few steps, Qin Sheng let go of Lin Su's arm. Otherwise, Lin Su would definitely feel uncomfortable. After sitting down, Qin Sheng helped Lin Su put her coat and bag into the bamboo basket. He smiled and handed the menu to Lin Su. He said, You know, I am not picky. I eat everything. You order first, I will add. Lin Su did not refuse and began to order. After choosing a few dishes, she handed it to Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng only added a yellow throat. After all, the two of them could not eat much, and he did not want to waste it. Lin Su tied up her hair and said, What were you thinking about just now? You were so engrossed. Qin Sheng said, Honestly, I'm going to Hangzhou for a business trip tonight. I was just thinking about things there. Business trip tonight? You're in such a hurry. How long will it take? Lin Su asked casually. Anyway, she and Qin Sheng were old friends. At that time, they really talked about everything. So when they met again, although 2 years had passed, there was no gap between them. Qin Sheng smiled faintly and said, Maybe a week, maybe longer. Lin Su nodded and did not ask further. Then she asked, The flowers in the morning, did you send them personally? Qin Sheng said happily, I am pursuing you. I have to show some sincerity, right? Lin Su did not know whether to laugh or cry. She said, You only sent one. It shows how stingy you are. But thank you very much. Qin Sheng said with interest, You said that you only like single white roses. Since you like it, I will send one every morning. Lin Su shook her head and said, That is not necessary. It is too troublesome. Qin Sheng did not say anything. Anyway, as long as he was in Shanghai, as long as he had time, he really planned to send a white rose to Lin Su every morning. He had to work harder and pay more. Otherwise, Lin Su would not agree. After a while, all the dishes were served, but the pot was not yet opened. At this time, Lin Su received a phone call. After seeing the name displayed on the screen, Lin Su picked up the phone and said, Sorry, I have to answer the phone. Chapter 102. There's an undercover agent. It's the end of the month. I'm looking for monthly votes. After work, Lin Su almost never picked up work calls unless there was something very urgent. Everyone in the company knew this unwritten rule. If it was a call from a friend, she would not have left in such a hurry. After all, she had just sat here with Qin Sheng. The pot had just begun to boil, and the dishes had not been served yet. The call was from Yin Chaozong. He said that Lin Su's grandmother had arrived in Shanghai and had just arrived at Shishan Golf Resort. She must have gotten off work, so he asked him to call her to come over. It seemed that Grandma had not been to Shanghai for more than a year. The last time she came to Shanghai was to mourn the death of an old friend of the Lin family. This old man had helped the Lin family a lot and was related to Grandma. Since her grandmother had arrived in Shanghai, Lin Su naturally had to rush over. That was when she finished the call. Hearing Lin Su say that she might have to leave first, Qin Sheng was stunned for a moment. He had just sat down, so he asked confusedly, "Something urgent?" "Sort of. My grandma just arrived in Shanghai. I have to rush over." "I'm really sorry," Lin Su said helplessly. "When you come back from Hangzhou, I'll treat you to hot pot." "How about that?" Qin Sheng could understand it. After all, family was the most important thing. If his grandfather were still alive and he had just arrived in Shanghai, Qin Sheng would definitely go to him directly no matter what happened. Qin Sheng stood up and said, "It's okay. Shall I walk you out?" Lin Su refused tactfully and said, "That's not necessary. I've called the driver. She just sent me here. She hasn't gone far yet. She'll come and pick me up immediately." Qin Sheng nodded silently as he said, "There's no hurry. You can go downstairs after the driver arrives. Eat something to fill your stomach first. You must be hungry." Lin Su did not reject Qin Sheng's good intentions, so the two of them sat down and started eating. Lin Su was very elegant, while Qin Sheng was still like a whirlwind sweeping away the clouds, as if there were delicacies placed in front of him. He gobbled down the meat in big mouthfuls and only lacked big bowls of wine. In less than 10 minutes, Lin Su's chauffeur arrived, so Qin Sheng sent Lin Su downstairs. A low-profile Audi Q7 was parked by the roadside. Seeing Lin Su coming over, the chauffeur hurriedly opened the door. "When you come back from Hangzhou, remember to give me a call." Lin Su waved at Qin Sheng before she got in the car. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "It seems that I don't need to find a reason to ask you out next time." "Smart." Lin Su smiled and got on the car. Qin Sheng waited until the Audi Q7 was far away before he went upstairs to continue eating the hot pot. After all, he had ordered so many dishes. It would be a pity if he did not eat them. Moreover, he was quite hungry. After the meal, Qin Sheng went back to Shilin Huayuan to pack his things. On the way there, he had already used his mobile phone to buy a high-speed train ticket to Hangzhou. Unexpectedly, when he returned to Shilin Huayuan, apart from Hao Lei, Han Bing was also there. She was preparing a room for them. "Why are you here?" Qin Sheng asked in surprise. Han Bing chuckled and said, "I've been busy these days and didn't have time to look for you. I got off work early and thought that you guys must have messed up the house, so I came over to help you clean it up." "Miss Han, you even know how to do housework? You're really one of the 7 fairies who fell into the mortal world." Qin Sheng habitually bickered with Han Bing. Han Bing held the garbage bag in her hand and glared at Qin Sheng. "If you continue to be so cocky, you can clean it up yourself. I won't serve you anymore." "I was wrong, my lady." Qin Sheng immediately begged for mercy. Han Bing cleaned the house, and Hao Lei helped her. Qin Sheng went straight into the bedroom to take a shower. After that, he began to pack his luggage. Han Bing came in and wondered, "Where are you going?" "I'm at Hangzhou to settle some personal matters," Qin Sheng said truthfully. Han Bing asked with concern, "What's wrong with you recently? You went to Nanjing and then to Hangzhou. Are you doing something illegal? Smuggling drugs, selling arms, and abducting women and children?" "Beauty, I think you're pretty good. I'm going to abduct you to the deep mountains and forests." Qin Sheng laughed and said. Han Bing walked up to Qin Sheng with a charming face. She hooked her arms around Qin Sheng's neck and teased, "Handsome, I'll go wherever you go. I won't marry anyone else but you in this life." Qin Sheng quickly admitted defeat and said, "My lady, stop fooling around. I'm leaving now. Can you send me to the high-speed train station?" "Why are you in such a hurry?" Han Bing wanted to stay with Qin Sheng for a while. She did not expect that Qin Sheng would leave as soon as he came back. Qin Sheng explained, I have no choice. It's a job arranged by the boss. As an employee, I can only do it. I'm not like you. Then I'll take care of you. You'll be my gigolo in the future. Then why don't you check the goods first? In case I'm a good-looking but useless man. Qin Sheng deliberately showed off his figure. Han Bing rolled her eyes and said, Hooligan. Han Bing personally sent Qin Sheng to Shanghai Hongqiao Station. On the way, Qin Sheng and Han Bing chatted about their recent lives. Qin Sheng asked about the situation of Guoping Group and the design company. Guoping Group was progressing smoothly, but the design company's business was not doing well recently. Previously, because of Han Guoping's connections, everyone was more supportive. Now that Han Guoping had passed away, naturally, some people did not give face to him. On the high-speed rail from Shanghai Hongqiao to Hangzhou, Qin Sheng had already sent a message to Zhao Quan, who had contacted him. He took the thick black theory that he had bought and started to study. Qin Sheng had read the thick black theory before. He agreed with many of the ideas in the book, but he had different opinions on some of them. However, the annotations of the previous owner of the book were an eye-opener for Qin Sheng. He changed his way of thinking to interpret those unfamiliar words. At 10 o'clock, Hangzhou East Station. Qin Sheng had just stepped out of the station when a sloppily dressed middle-aged man with messy hair walked slowly to Qin Sheng. He smiled and said, You must be Mr. Qin? Your brother Zhao. Qin Sheng was surprised. He did not expect this man to recognize him. He had wanted to make a phone call, but he guessed that Jiang Xianbang must have sent him a photo. Zhao Quan was not tall, only 7 meters. His skin was tanned, and there was a scar on his neck. He was relatively skinny. Nice to meet you. Mr. Qin, this way. Zhao Quan did not talk much with Qin Sheng and directly let him out. There was a Buick GL8 parked by the roadside. The driver was a young man. Zhao Quan waited until Qin Sheng got in the car before introducing, Mr. Qin, this is my nephew, Zhao Song. We're on the same side. Zhao Song looked like a dead man. There was no expression on his face. He wore a peaked cap and only nodded slightly without looking back at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng had made up his mind on the high-speed rail that he would not trust anyone on this trip to Hangzhou before confirming the cause and effect of the matter. The disappearance of Jiang Xianbang's confidant was quite strange. Moreover, there was that thing in his hand. Qin Sheng really did not know what it was that could make Jiang Xianbang so concerned. The Buick GL8 headed for the city. On the way, Qin Sheng began to ask about the specific situation. How many days has Brother Hong been missing? This is the 4th day, Zhao Quan said with a serious face. Qin Sheng asked casually, Tell me what happened in detail. 4 days ago, after we finished supper on Guduan Road, Brother Hong left alone. He said he had something to deal with. We returned to our place. We called Brother Hao the next day, but his phone was turned off. We couldn't get in touch with him for the whole day. I realized that something was wrong and quickly reported it to Mr. Jiang, Zhao Quan explained slowly. Qin Sheng continued to ask, Do you have any suspects? This time it's more complicated. We went through a lot of trouble to get that thing back from Changsha. Many things happened during this period. A few forces wanted to get their hands on it. We also lost a few brothers. They chased us all the way to Hangzhou. Brother Hong was about to bring the thing to Shanghai when he disappeared that night. Where is it? Qin Sheng asked with concern. Zhao Quan shook his head and said, I don't know. Only Brother Hong knows where it is. If we want to get it, we have to find Brother Hong. What is that thing? Why are so many people after it? Qin Sheng was very curious. Zhao Quan's face changed slightly. Mr. Qin, I really don't know. During the transaction, Brother Hong personally negotiated it. He has been contacting the buyer alone. We have never met him. Mr. Qin, don't you know? Mr. Jiang didn't tell you? Qin Sheng shook his head thoughtfully. He had no clue about the whole thing. He did not know what the thing was or where it was. He did not know why Brother Hong disappeared. He did not know who kidnapped him or whether he had really betrayed Jiang Xianbang. Qin Sheng sighed his heart and said, How troublesome. Qin Sheng asked again, In these few days, did you feel that something was wrong? Zhao Quan thought for a moment and said, Something was wrong. I always felt that someone was watching us. So we retreated from the dark spot on Guduan Road. Now we're living in an old tea garden in my Jiawu. It is relatively safer. Okay, I got it. When we go back, we will discuss the details. Qin Sheng could only say so. Hangzhou was a good city. Qin Sheng had been to Hangzhou many times during his college days. His favorite cities were Hangzhou and Chengdu. There was heaven above and Suzhou and Hangzhou below. This was not an exaggeration. In addition, there were green mountains and buildings outside the mountains. Westlake was full of singing and dancing. In addition, there were mountains in the west and Qiantang River. It was really a good place with mountains, lakes, and rivers. It took 40 minutes to arrive at Maijiawu from Hangzhou East Railway Station. It was quite interesting to enter the deep mountains and forests from the city. However, they did not pass by Westlake. Qin Sheng thought that when he was done with his work, he could go to Westlake and burn incense at Lingyin Temple. After that, he would eat Hangzhou cuisine for Zaiwiguan. The Buick GL8 drove all the way to the tea mountain in Maijiawu and stopped at the entrance of an old courtyard. The terrain was relatively high and there were no other houses around. It was all tea gardens. The scenery during the day must be good. Zhao Quan and his nephew led Qin Sheng into the courtyard. There were two other men in the courtyard, both of whom were Brother Hong's relatives. One was Brother Hong's brother-in-law, Bai Yong, and the other was Brother Hong's cousin, Hong Tao. Qin Sheng could not help but guess the identity of this group of people. Was it related to Jiang Xianbong's old profession? After all, only those who worked in that profession were his own people. Then, was that thing an antique? Mr. Qin, you're here. Bai Yong greeted Qin Sheng politely. They had already made a few dishes to go with the wine and were waiting for Zhao Quan to bring Qin Sheng back for a drink. However, when they saw that Qin Sheng was just a young man, they looked down on him. After all, this was not a simple matter. Mr. Jiang sent a young man over. Hong Tao, who was chubby and had two small dimples on his face, laughed and said, "Mr. Qin, you must be hungry. Sit down and eat. These are all made by us brothers. Please make do with it." Qin Sheng did not stand on ceremony. After all, these people were going to fight side by side with him. He had to build a good relationship with them. Hence, everyone sat down. Everyone first toasted Qin Sheng, which was considered a welcome dinner for him. After a few glasses of wine, everyone became more talkative. They talked about what had happened this time. Only Zhao Quan's nephew did not say a word. He only cared about eating. Just when Qin Sheng was thinking about what they said, all the lights in the courtyard suddenly went off. It was dark in an instant. Zhao Quan shouted, "Oh no, something's wrong." Chapter 103. Bad Start. On the way here, the cautious Zhao Quan had said that this was the most secretive place prepared by Brother Hong. Only a few of his confidants knew about it. When they evacuated to this place that day, they changed 4 cars and traveled for 3 hours. They almost went around the whole of Hangzhou before arriving here. For the past few days, everyone stayed here. They only came out today when he and his nephew came to pick Qin Sheng up. They were afraid that their hideout would be discovered. Then, how did they know about this place? They had just returned not long ago. Who could predict Qin Sheng's arrival so coincidentally? Who could coincidentally know when Qin Sheng would arrive? Therefore, Qin Sheng deduced that there must be spies among the 4 of them, including Zhao Quan. At this moment, it was pitch black. Everyone scattered in all directions. No one knew where each other was. The few of them did not even dare to breathe loudly. They carefully listened to the movements outside. As expected, they heard messy footsteps and whispers. Indeed, there were people coming. They were definitely coming for Qin Sheng. Bai Yong, Hong Tao, both of you go out and take a look? Zhao Quan instructed softly. This was somewhat selfish. After all, Bai Yong and Hong Tao were outsiders. Bai Yong and Hong Tao had come here on a knife's edge. They did not think too much. The 2 of them went out one after another. The moment they went out, Zhao Quan and the rest heard fighting sounds in the courtyard. It seemed to be a big commotion. The other party should have a lot of people. After careful consideration, Qin Sheng felt that he could not sit here and wait for death. If the other party came prepared, staying here would only lead to death. Moreover, there were spies among them. Who knew who would stab them in the back? They could not King die the moment they arrived in Hangzhou, right? Brother Zhao, we can't stay here. The other party came prepared. We have to rush out, Qin Sheng said tentatively. He wanted to see how Zhao Quan would deal with it. Zhao Quan squinted his eyes and thought for a while. He felt that Qin Sheng was right. He then said, Mr. Qin, I will rush out first. You and Zhao Song will come out later. We will act according to the situation. If the other party has more people, we will split up and fight our way out. We will contact each other later. Zhao Song, protect Mr. Qin. If he is hurt, I will hold you responsible. Zhao Song, who was in the dark, did not speak. He continued to remain silent. A few seconds later, Zhao Quan pulled out a self-made, lengthened dagger from his waist and walked out carefully. Qin Sheng did not wait at all and followed closely behind him. Zhao Song followed Qin Sheng without hesitation. At that moment, the situation outside had descended into chaos. As expected, the other party had come prepared. There were at least 10 experts among them. Zhao Quan and the other two had already started fighting the other party. Seeing more people coming out, the other party did not hesitate to rush over. That's him! Catch him! Someone suddenly shouted. This sentence further confirmed Qin Sheng's previous thoughts. Zhao Song took the lead and stood in front of Qin Sheng. He slashed at the man who was the first to approach him and cut open the man's chest. At this moment, Zhao Quan shouted, Kill them! Split up and retreat. Qin Sheng did not want to fight at all. It was too dangerous here. He bent over and dodged the man who was rushing at him. He hit the man's back with one arm, grabbed the man's shoulder, and pushed him toward the other two men who were rushing at him. Noticing that the wall of the courtyard was relatively low, Qin Sheng exerted strength in his feet and instantly rushed over. He stepped on the windowsill and flipped over in an instant. The whole movement was done in one go, and he did not give the other party any chance at all. The prey has escaped. Chase him! Someone shouted in the courtyard. Two men flipped over the wall and chased after him. A few others went out of the courtyard to chase after him. This reduced the pressure on Zhao Quan and the rest. Bai Yong and Hong Tao's situation was unclear, so they also tried to break out of the encirclement. Zhao Quan was stabbed 3 times, and his injuries were rather serious. Who asked him to meet a powerful opponent? Zhao Song wanted to save Zhao Quan, but he was scolded by Zhao Quan, Don't worry about me. Hurry up and protect Mr. Qin. Zhao Song gritted his teeth and had no choice but to flip over the wall and rush out, leaving Zhao Quan in the courtyard. After Qin Sheng flipped over the wall, he did not expect that there would be people guarding outside. However, he did not dare to delay any longer. He jumped up and kicked away the man nearest to him. Then he followed the path in the tea garden and went down the mountain. It was the bustling street of Maijiawu. Moreover, there were police stations and so on. It would be easier for him to escape when the time came. When Qin Sheng was young, he was a master of running races with his prey in Zhongnan Mountains. Zhongnan Mountains was such a place, but on this tea mountain, it was like walking on flat ground. In addition, his stamina was especially good, which was not something that ordinary people could compare with. He ran wildly all the way without stopping. In 20 minutes, Qin Sheng had killed his way to the bustling street of Maijiawu. He was planning to take a taxi and escape from here. At this moment, someone chased after him. After Qin Sheng took a closer look, he realized that it was Zhao Song who had been chasing after him. Qin Sheng kept a distance from him and asked, How are the others? I don't know. Uncle asked me to protect you, Zhao Song said while panting heavily. This was also the first time he spoke in front of Qin Sheng. He thought that his stamina was already strong enough, but he did not expect Mr. Qin to be even stronger. He did not stop along the way, and the two of them had long left the group of people far behind. Qin Sheng's face was livid, and he did not say a word. He had just arrived in Hangzhou, and he was already set up. How could he not be angry? Seeing that Qin Sheng did not speak, Zhao Song continued to ask, Mr. Qin, what should we do now? Let's get out of here first. Qin Sheng came back to his senses and arranged, Go to the city. Hence, Zhao Song immediately hailed a taxi, and the two of them left Maijiawu. Qin Sheng's backpack was still in the small courtyard, and he could not care about it now. Relatively speaking, the city was safer. Hangzhou's public security was not bad. Those people would not have the guts to mess around, unless they were really not afraid of death. Where to stay tonight? In the end, Qin Sheng chose the Hyatt Hotel by the West Lake. There were two reasons. First, it was in the downtown area. Second, a five-star hotel for foreigners was safer. After telling the taxi driver the address, Qin Sheng immediately turned to Zhao Song, who had a flat-top haircut and a similar figure to him, and said, "From now on, if you want to follow me, give me your phone and listen to my arrangements." "Mr. Qin, you don't believe me?" Zhao Song was still expressionless. Qin Sheng snorted. "Some things are too coincidental. I just arrived at my Jiawu, and they already knew. Your uncle said that only you guys know about that place." "All right, since Mr. Qin said so, I'll give you my phone." Zhao Song did not waste time and took out his phone and handed it to Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng did not hesitate and opened the call and text records in front of him. Other than his uncle Zhao Quan, Bai Yong, and Hong Tao, there were no other recent contacts. However, Qin Sheng still did not believe him. It was possible that they had deleted the contacts beforehand. A cautious person would definitely not give himself away. Half an hour later, they finally arrived at the Hyatt Hotel by the West Lake. Zhao Song did not bring anything with him. His jacket was still stained with blood. Luckily, it was too dark earlier and the taxi driver did not see it. Otherwise, he would probably have called the police. Qin Sheng asked Zhao Song to throw away his jacket and buy a new one tomorrow morning. Qin Sheng took his wallet and ID card and booked a standard room at the front desk. After they entered the room, they did not say anything and went straight to bed. Zhao Song's phone was switched off while Qin Sheng's was switched on. If Zhao Quan was fine, he would definitely contact him. After all, he trusted Zhao Quan more or less. Otherwise, Jiang Xianbang would not have asked him to contact Zhao Quan. That night, Qin Sheng did not sleep well. Other than receiving a call from Han Bing for a short while, his phone did not ring again. Zhao Song, who was beside him, fell asleep. Qin Sheng did not know if he was really asleep or pretending to be asleep. Staying by the West Lake, if it was in the past, Qin Sheng would definitely go to the West Lake in the morning. However, he was not in the mood this morning. After waking up around 7 a.m., he took a shower first. After a while, Zhao Song also woke up. "Mr. Qin, what do we do now?" Zhao Song asked, giving the initiative to Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng said casually, "Just call me Brother Qin. You don't have to be so polite. I'll report to Mr. Jiang first and see if he has other contacts in Hangzhou," Qin Sheng said thoughtfully. He thought that Jiang Xianbang must have woken up by now. This little old man's schedule was quite regular. Qin Sheng asked Zhao Song to wait in the room while he went out to the corridor to make a call. At the same time, he kept his voice very low. Jiang Xianbang had indeed woken up. He had just finished breakfast and was drinking tea while listening to Qing playing the Chinese zither. The song, "High Mountains and Flowing Water," was refreshing. The melody was beautiful and smooth, and the form was elegant and unique. Qing, who played the Chinese zither, was really extraordinary and made people look at her in a new light. "How is it? Did you contact Zhao Quan?" Jiang Xianbang asked lazily after receiving Qin Sheng's call. Qin Sheng said bluntly, "I just arrived in Hangzhou and I almost died. You really pushed me into the fire pit." "What happened?" Jiang Xianbang's expression changed slightly. Hence, Qin Sheng told him everything that happened last night. After he was done, he asked, "Do you have anyone else you can use in Hangzhou?" "Yes, but I don't want to be involved in this matter with the company." "Don't worry, do what you want. If it really doesn't work, I'll think of another way," Jiang Xianbang said with a frown. He could give up on that thing in Hangzhou, but he had to know whether Hong Xing was dead or alive. Qin Sheng nodded silently and said, "Okay, then wait for my news." "Be careful," Jiang Xianbang reminded him. Qin Sheng returned to the room after the call. Zhao Song was taking a shower. At this time, Qin Sheng took out Zhao Song's phone and turned it on. He found that there were messages from Bai Yong and Hong Tao. The content was almost the same. They were asking how Zhao Song was where he was now, and whether he was with Zhao Quan and Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng was not in a hurry to reply them. Instead, He waited for Zhao Song to finish his shower and brought him out for breakfast. Then, he bought him a coat from the clothing store next door. In a garden bungalow on Middle Huaihai Road, Jiang Xianbang fell into deep thought after the call. He regretted letting Qin Sheng handle this matter. If something really happened, he would not be able to answer to old Master Qin. After Qing finished the song, she stood up and walked behind Jiang Xianbang. She massaged his shoulders and said, "Uncle, what's wrong? Who called?" "That brat Qin Sheng," Jiang Xianbang sighed. So was Qin Sheng. Qing snorted and said, "Oh." Chapter 104. There was indeed a problem. Begging for monthly votes. The saying "the girl next door has just grown up" was perfect for Qing. More than 10 years had passed. Qing had grown from a little girl who wore ragged clothes and stared at Jiang Xianbang without blinking her eyes. She had grown into a goddess who was like a fairy who descended from the heavens. However, Jiang Xianbang was most worried about this girl's marriage. Up until now, she had never been in a relationship. This gave Jiang Xianbang a headache. He never forced Qing, nor did he force her to go on blind dates. Sometimes, intentionally or unintentionally, he would bring Qing, to attend some events and introduce her to some talented young men or descendants of aristocratic families. He would ask her what she thought, but none of them could win her heart. Seeing that the girl was getting older, Jiang Xianbang was helpless. Now, he intended to train Qin Sheng as a successor. He felt that the best situation was for Qing, and Qin Sheng to get together. The two had known each other for a long time. After Jiang Xianbang came back to his senses, he asked, "Qing, what do you think of Qin Sheng?" Him? Thinking of the man she hated, who had molested or offended her several times. Qing said with disdain, "Not good." "Oh," Jiang Xianbang said with interest. "I think he's not bad." Qing stopped what she was doing and asked in confusion, "Uncle, what do you mean?" "I think if you think he's not bad, you could try to get along with each other." "You're not young anymore," Jiang Xianbang said with a smile. Qing then understood what her uncle meant. She immediately said shyly, "Uncle, you're messing around again. I'm not talking to you anymore. I'm going to school." Jiang Xianbang laughed out loud. Westlake Hyatt Hotel. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song had breakfast in the hotel. They ran to the nearest shopping mall to buy some clothes for Zhao Song and then went to get a car with him. This was also their stronghold, where they usually stored some supplies and so on. What shocked Qin Sheng even more was that there were guns here. When Zhao Song handed a Browning to Qin Sheng, he shook his head and said, "Don't touch these. This is Hangzhou. We'd better be careful. Each of us take a dagger for self-defense." Zhao Song thought for a while and agreed to Qin Sheng's suggestion. So, the two of them each picked a dagger that matched their hands. Finally, they drove away from the stronghold in the downtown area. "Brother Qin, where are we going?" Zhao Song was driving. His phone was still in Qin Sheng's hand. Qin Sheng had said earlier that only by Yong and Hong Tao had contacted him. There was no news from his uncle, Zhao Quan. Zhao Song's expression was very ugly. Qin Sheng said calmly, "Let's go back to Mei Jiaowu." Return to Mei Jiaowu? Zhao Song turned pale with fright. Wasn't that courting death? There was no guarantee that they would be waiting there for them. Zhao Song quickly said, "Brother Qin, isn't this too risky?" "It's okay. Just follow my arrangement. Let's go." Qin Sheng did not explain too much and just said casually. Zhao Song sighed. He had no other choice but to listen to Qin Sheng's arrangements. Hence, he drove to Mai Jiaowu. However, Zhao Song still had a lingering fear after last night's mess. On the way to Mai Jiaowu, Qin Sheng casually chatted with Zhao Song. "You look young, probably in your early 20s. What did you start doing this with your uncle?" "I started before I graduated from junior high school. It should have been 6 years now. I couldn't keep up with my studies. My parents divorced, and they were too lazy to care about me. That's why I started this path with my uncle," Zhao Song said thoughtfully. His ancestors were in this line of work, but his father was not interested in it. His uncle had inherited his grandfather's skills. After Zhao Song and Qin Sheng got to know each other, he became a chatterbox, unlike yesterday when he was silent. "Do you plan to keep doing this?" Qin Sheng smiled. Zhao Song shook his head and said, "No, this line of work is too dangerous. Those who started this line of work with us have basically all died over the years. I'm under my uncle's protection. He doesn't let me show my face for most of the things. That's why I'm still alive today. Uncle said that he'll retire after another 3 years. By then, I'll go back to my hometown in Hubei, start a small business, marry a wife, and live the rest of my life." "That's not bad. I see that you're quite skilled. How did you train?" Qin Sheng continued to ask. Zhao Song was right. Who wouldn't want to be safe and sound? It was just that sometimes life forced them to take risks. Zhao Song explained, "In our small town, there are many old men who know a thing or two. My grandfather is a martial artist. I trained with him since I was young. Later on, I learned from the uncles in the town. After that, when I left with my uncle also taught me. Coupled with my life and death experience over the years, I could be considered to be able to stay alive." Although Qin Sheng did not want to hurt Zhao Song's confidence, Zhao Quan had not contacted them since last night. It was very likely that he was already dead. After all, among the four of them, Qin Sheng trusted Zhao Quan more. "Brother Qin, what about you? How did you get into this line of work?" Zhao Song asked curiously. Qin Sheng sighed and said, "I didn't get into this line of work. It's just that Mr. Jiang asked me to come over to handle this matter. That's why I'm here, although I'm very reluctant." Zhao Song asked subconsciously, "Brother Qin, didn't that Mr. Jiang tell you what that thing is?" Qin Sheng turned around and stared at Zhao Song with squinted eyes. Zhao Song immediately realized that something was wrong and quickly explained, "I don't mean anything else. I'm just asking casually. I don't care about that thing. I only care about where Brother Hong is," Qin Sheng said honestly. However, Qin Sheng also knew that others might not believe him. Zhao Song was afraid that Qin Sheng would think too much, so he changed the topic. "Brother Qin, are you married?" "I'm a single dog." Qin Sheng shook his head and smiled bitterly. Zhao Song sighed and said, "After this matter is over, I have to find a good relationship. All these years, I followed my uncle to those bathing centers and nightclubs. I even gave my first time to a prostitute. Just thinking about it makes me feel a little regretful. Young man, fall in love. Love is what life is supposed to be like." Hearing Zhao Song's words, Qin Sheng laughed out loud. It was really true that young people did not know what love was like. When they arrived at Maijiawu, Qin Sheng asked Zhao Song to stop the car by the roadside. The two of them directly climbed over the tea garden. At this time of day, there were many tea farmers in the tea garden, so no one took them seriously. As they gradually approached the courtyard, Qin Sheng and Zhao Song began to be cautious. After confirming that there was nothing strange around, they walked into the courtyard again. There was still the smell of blood in the courtyard. The blood on the ground had obviously been washed. There was no one inside, but it was a mess. Everything had been turned over. On the table in the lobby, there was still last night's dinner and beer. Qin Sheng's bag was thrown not far away. It was also opened. His clothes and books were thrown aside. After looking around, Zhao Song did not find any trace of his uncle. He began to worry. He gritted his teeth and said, "Brother Qin, I'm afraid that uncle has, if he's alive, I want to see him. If he's dead, I want to see his corpse." "If you don't see his corpse, don't worry," Qin Sheng said with a gloomy face. He then instructed, "Now, give Bai Yong and Hong Tao a call. First, confirm if they are together. If not, ask them to come to Maijiawu separately. If they are together, find a way to separate them." Zhao Song's suspicions had been reduced. In that case, the most likely traitors were Bai Yong and Hong Tao. Qin Sheng first had to find clues and then dig out the mastermind. Hence, Zhao Song dialed Bai Yong's number. On the other side, Bai Yong, who was nowhere to be found, said anxiously, "Zhao Song, you finally contacted me. IF Asterisk King thought that you and your uncle were dead. Where are you now? Are you alone or with someone else?" Zhao Song asked according to Qin Sheng's words. On the other side, Bai Yong said thoughtfully, "Currently, I'm alone. Then come to my Jiawa now." "Mr. Qin wants to see you," Zhao Song continued. Qin Sheng smiled and nodded beside him. Bai Yong was very surprised. "Mr. Qin is with you? Is he okay? You guys actually ran back again. Are you tired of living? Don't worry about this. Mr. Qin knows what he's doing. Hurry over now. Be careful not to let anyone discover your whereabouts, Zhao Song said, and hung up. After about 10 minutes, Qin Sheng asked Zhao Song to call Hong Tao immediately. What they said was basically the same. After the 2 calls, Zhao Song continued to ask, Brother Qin, what should we do next? Qin Sheng calmly arranged. Let's go down the mountain and see which of these 2 is the problem. Qin Sheng was very clear that if there was really a traitor, then this group of people's target would be him. This was because they wanted that thing. Even though Hong Tao was missing and they still could not find it, it meant that Hong Tao had not betrayed Jiang Xianbang. Zhao Quan and the rest did not know either. Hence, they pinned their hopes on an outsider like Qin Sheng, thinking that he might know something. There was only one way to get from the foot of Maizhuo Mountain to the courtyard on the T Mountain. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song hid under a big tree not far away. They had a high vantage point and a wide field of vision. Coupled with the natural barrier of the tea tree, it was impossible for them to be discovered. About 20 minutes later, a Nissan Tetra appeared and went straight down the road to the courtyard. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song were guessing who it could be. A few minutes later, Hong Tao called and said anxiously, Zhao Song, I'm already here. Why don't I see you and Mr. Qin? Wait for a while. We'll buy something downstairs and be back soon. Be careful, Zhao Song said according to plan. Another 10 minutes later, a taxi appeared. This time, it should be Baiyong. The taxi stopped a few hundred meters away from the courtyard. Baiyong got off and walked towards the courtyard. It shouldn't be, Qin Sheng muttered thoughtfully. What he expected did not happen. Just when Qin Sheng was feeling puzzled, 2 Toyota Prado suddenly appeared at the intersection. They were very fast and rushed towards the small courtyard. Qin Sheng was overjoyed. There's indeed a problem. He signaled Zhao Song to call Baiyong and Hong Tao immediately and asked them to leave the courtyard. Their whereabouts had been exposed, and someone was chasing them. Zhao Song quickly made the call. After hearing the news, Baiyong and Hong Tao were also shocked. They did not care about anything else and immediately ran towards the back of the mountain. Chapter 105. It's so complicated at this moment. Between Baiyong and Hong Tao, Baiyong was more likely to be the traitor. After all, this group of people followed Baiyong here. Finally, there was a flaw. This made Qin Sheng, who was at a loss of what to do, happy. The BYD F3 that Zhao Song found was parked not far from the foot of the mountain. Qin Sheng quickly ran to the car with Zhao Song and waited quietly for the group of people to return. Qin Sheng returned the phone to Zhao Song and gestured for him to turn it off again. This time, the 2 of them disappeared completely. Before he finished smoking a cigarette, the 2 Toyota Prado came down from the mountain. This time, it was Qin Sheng who drove. He followed behind them unhurriedly for fear of being discovered. Otherwise, all his efforts would be in vain again. They followed the 2 Toyota Prado all the way across the Zhejiang Bridge and finally stopped at a farmhouse near Xianghu in Shaoshan District. It was located on Xiangxi Road. Qin Sheng's anti-reconnaissance ability was very strong. They were not discovered from the beginning to the end. They parked the BYD in an open space not far away. There were a few cars parked there, so it was not conspicuous. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song sat in the car and stared at the small bungalow not far away. There were a few cars parked in front of the door. This group of people chose the suburbs. It seemed like they were trying to cover up. After all, what they were doing was not something that could be seen. The other party had a lot of people. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song did not act rashly. They had to figure out the identity and background of this group of people first. Therefore, Qin Sheng and Zhao Song stared here for the whole morning. It was indeed a bit boring and boring. It was already lunchtime. Zhao Song got out of the car to find a place to buy something to eat. Qin Sheng continued to stare at the small bungalow. The person he expected had appeared. It was the traitor among the 4 people. This traitor was Baiyong. Baiyong drove a Volvo. After getting out of the car, he looked around before entering. Obviously, he knew what he was doing. Once he was discovered, he would definitely be killed. The traitor had appeared. The mastermind had also appeared. The truth was getting closer and closer. However, Qin Sheng was most concerned about Brother Hong's life and death. This was the task given by Jiang Xianbang. Just as Qin Sheng was thinking about the next strategy, his goddess Lin Su called. Seeing the number displayed on the phone screen, Qin Sheng was stunned for a few seconds before picking up. Obviously, he was a little surprised. After all, this was the first time he picked up Lin Su's call after 2 years. Since their last meeting, they had been communicating via text. How outdated. How was the business trip in Hangzhou? Standing in front of the floor-to-ceiling window and looking at the scenery of the bund opposite, Lin Su asked with a smile. She had just ordered takeout and was waiting for it to arrive. In the past, Lin Su often went to the restaurant in Poly Plaza. However, she was always hit on by people, which made her quite annoyed. In the end, she settled her lunch with takeout. She felt a little sad. It was not her fault that she was beautiful. Qin Sheng crossed his legs. Of course, he did not dare to say, "Oh my God, I almost died." However, he still smiled and said, "When will the singing and dancing of the West Lake stop?" The warm wind intoxicated the tourists, making them treat Hangzhou as Bianzhou. Hangzhou is such a good place. Of course, I have to enjoy it. Are you on a business trip or a holiday? Lin Su laughed. Towards men who approached her with any motive, Lin Su hoped that they would have a sense of confidence and not feel inferior or humble in front of her. Unfortunately, most men at the moment were the latter, including Yin Chaozong. They always had too many misgivings when facing her. Qin Sheng stopped laughing and said, "I'm just joking. Of course, I'm going on a business trip. What's the matter? Are you not busy today?" "I'm not a strong woman," Lin Su said in a very unhappy tone. Qin Sheng knew that he had guessed right. He quickly explained, "Grandma came to Shanghai. Didn't you accompany her to walk around? I talked with her for a while last night. Today, she's going to meet an old friend. With Aunt accompanying her, she naturally doesn't need me," Lin Su said with a slight frown. She more or less felt guilty about what happened last night. After all, she stood her up at the last minute. Qin Sheng said thoughtfully, "Sometimes you can put your work aside and spend more time with the elderly. After all, they are old. To put it bluntly, each day they live is one day less. The happiest thing is to accompany their children and grandchildren. The most regretful thing in my life is that I didn't spend time with my grandfather. Now I want to, but I don't have the chance." Lin Su already knew about what happened to Qin Sheng that night. She more or less felt sorry for him. "Yes, I know," Lin Su sighed and said. Qin Sheng asked casually, "Have you eaten? No matter how busy you are, you have to take care of yourself." "I'm waiting for takeout," Lin Su said softly. Qin Sheng was about to ask why she didn't eat something good. At this time, there was a situation in the small bungalow not far away. A group of people came out of the small bungalow, surrounded by a man and a woman. Qin Sheng's expression changed instantly. He was a little shocked because he knew the man and the woman. He did not expect to meet them here. What was going on? How to get involved in this? "I can't talk to you now. I have something to do now. Talk to you later." At this time, Qin Sheng had no time to care about Lin Su. He said absent-mindedly. Before Lin Su could reply, he had already hung up the phone. Lin Su, who was on the other side, was stunned for a moment before she came to her senses. She bit her lower lip and was a little angry. Since when did a man dare to hang up her phone? This Qin Sheng was really bold. Qin Sheng did not dare to act rashly. He saw the two old acquaintances leave in a Toyota Prado. The trader by Yong did not leave. He stood at the door and smoked. After a while, he went in. A few minutes later, Zhao Song came back with lunch. There were 2 servings of fried rice and water. After getting in the car, he asked, "Brother Qin, what's the situation?" Qin Sheng did not say that he met an acquaintance. He only said, "There is indeed a traitor among you. He has appeared." "Who is it?" Zhao Song was shocked. He did not expect there to be a traitor. No wonder they were targeted everywhere. This damn dog. If he caught him, he would definitely kill him. Qin Sheng smiled and said, "You'll know in a while." After they finished eating, Bai Yong came out again. This time, he directly drove away. When he saw Bai Yong, Zhao Song was shocked. "It's actually him." "Nothing surprising," Qin Sheng said indifferently. Although Zhao Song had guessed that it might be one of Bai Yong and Hong Tao, he was still a little surprised when he saw Bai Yong. After all, they had known each other for such a long time. However, when he thought of what happened during this period, Zhao Song was a little angry. Qin Sheng did not think too much. He caught up with Bai Yong without hesitation and kept following him. Bai Yong drove from Xianghu all the way to the Nanshan Road China Academy of Fine Arts. He parked his car by the roadside and wanted to go to the West Lake. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song also left their car there. The two of them split up to gamble on Bai Yong. A few minutes later, Bai Yong saw Zhao Song, who was standing in front of him on the tree-lined path near the lake, staring at him with an unfriendly expression. The moment he saw Zhao Song, Bai Yong realized that he had been exposed. He ran back without hesitation. However, just as he turned around, he found Qin Sheng standing behind him. Bai Yong did not want to be caught without a fight. He decisively rushed into the forest. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song chased after him. Qin Sheng's speed was faster than Bai Yong. Within 2 steps, he jumped high and kicked Bai Yong's back. Bai Yong fell flat on his face. After he got up, he still wanted to run. Zhao Song was already in front of him and kicked him in the face. When Zhao Song was about to bend down to pull Bai Yong up, Bai Yong suddenly pulled out a dagger from his waist and stabbed it at Zhao Song. Fortunately, Zhao Song was prepared and quickly took 2 steps back. Qin Sheng, who got up, saw this and went up to Bai Yong. He grabbed Bai Yong's arm and smashed his right elbow on Bai Yong's head. Then, he threw Bai Yong a few meters away. This time, Bai Yong could not get up anymore. This place was more secluded, so there were not many tourists. Otherwise, some busybody might call the police. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song slowly walked in front of Bai Yong. Qin Sheng sneered. "Run. Why aren't you running? Damn it. I didn't expect you to be a traitor." F***CKU, a traitor. Zhao Song grabbed Bai Yong and scolded him. Bai Yong spat out a mouthful of blood and said, "Don't hit me, don't hit me. Let's talk. Brother Yong, Mr. Jiang treated you well, right? Why did you betray him? Aren't you afraid that if Mr. Jiang finds out, you will die a horrible death?" Qin Sheng asked with a smile. Bai Yong said with a sad face, "Mr. Qin, I had no choice. Although this place was secluded, there were still passers-by." Qin Sheng and Zhao Song had to bring Bai Yong to the car first. After getting in the car, Qin Sheng asked, "Brother Qin, where to?" "The most dangerous place is naturally the safest place. It's still Meijiao Wu," Qin Sheng said casually. He did not believe that there would be people guarding there. After all, Meijiao Wu had no value. After Zhao Song drove on, Qin Sheng played with the dagger in his hand and asked, "Brother Yong, I think you can tell me now. Where is Brother Hong?" "Believe it or not, I really don't know where brother-in-law is." Bai Yong shook his head directly. Qin Sheng snorted and said, "At this time, you are still so stubborn. You really won't shed a tear until you see the coffin. Last night, I suspected that there was a traitor, so I set up a trap to expose you. In the end, I followed you to Xianghu, but I didn't expect you to be the spy. The power behind you is not simple. If Brother Hong was not captured by them, who else could it be? Mr. Qin, although I am a greedy person, I will not betray my brother-in-law. That group of people also don't know about my brother-in-law. They are also looking for my brother-in-law," Bai Yong explained while enduring the pain. Qin Sheng snorted and said, "Do you think I'm so easy to fool? What happened last night? What happened today? How do you explain it? What happened last night was really not done by them. Otherwise, I wouldn't have been injured. Originally, I wanted to inform them in the dead of night, but I didn't expect that I would be intercepted. As for today, I was the one who leaked the news. Because they want that thing, they can't find my brother-in-law now. The few of us also don't know. I thought Mr. Qin knew," Bai Yong continued. After listening to Bai Yong's words, Qin Sheng's face became more and more serious. Bai Yong did not look like he was lying. If what he said was true, then apart from the group of people behind Bai Yong, there was another group of people. Chapter 106. Talk along the way. Qin Sheng did not ask any more questions. He felt that something was wrong. Bai Yong was no longer of any value. He asked Zhao Song to call Hong Tao and come to Meijiao Wu as soon as possible. At this time, Hong Tao was no longer a suspect. After arriving at Maizhou, Zhao was song-tied by Yong to the pillar in the lobby. Qin Sheng began to deduce the whole thing. He thought that by capturing Bai Yong, he would know where Brother Hong was and this matter would be settled. Now it seemed that it was not that simple. Qin Sheng was deep in thought. Zhao Song did not dare to disturb him. He waited outside the door, quietly for Hong Tao to come back. Half an hour later, Hong Tao came late. He could not wait to run into the lobby. Seeing Bai Yong tied to the pillar, he asked confusedly, "Mr. Qin, what is the meaning of this?" "Ask him yourself." Qin Sheng snorted. Bai Yong cried and admitted his mistake. "Brother Tao, I was wrong. It's all my fault. I betrayed everyone." Bai Yong and Hong Tao were both Brother Hong's relatives, so they had known each other for a long time and were quite familiar with each other. It had never occurred to him that Bai Yong would be a traitor. He was so angry that he almost exploded. He grabbed Bai Yong's collar and said, "F***CK, you're a F***king traitor. Did you betray my brother? Tell me, where's my brother?" Qin Sheng motioned for Zhao Song to pull Hong Tao away and explained, "He doesn't know where Brother Hong is. They're not a group of people." Zhao Song then explained everything. Hong Tao finally understood, but he was even more shocked. It turned out that there was more than one group of people watching them. Who was the one who leaked the news last night? "Let me ask you something." Qin Sheng realized that he might have made a mistake and asked. Zhao Song and the others stared at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng said slowly, "I arrived in Hangzhou last night." "Did Brother Zhao tell you what time I arrived?" This question was naturally directed at Bai Yong and Hong Tao. Bai Yong and Hong Tao looked at each other and shook their heads. "Brother Zhao did not say. He just called us later and said that Mr. Qin would be coming tonight and asked us to prepare some food and drinks." Qin Sheng squinted and nodded meaningfully. He then asked, "After I escaped last night, what happened inside? What happened to Brother Zhao?" So far, out of the four of them, 3 were at the scene. Only Zhao Quan was not there. Qin Sheng did not know whether he was dead or alive, so he asked this question. "After you left, Zhao Song also chased after you. Only the 3 of us were left in the yard. It seems that Brother Zhao was seriously injured. When we escaped, he was already lying on the ground." Hong Tao sighed and said, "He might have met with misfortune." The more Qin Sheng thought about it, the more confused he became. The logic was not right. If Brother Zhao was another traitor, how could he have died? Even if Brother Zhao didn't die, as long as they worked together last night, he would definitely be captured. Also, if Brother Zhao betrayed Jiang Xianbang, then his nephew Zhao Song might as well. But from last night until now, Zhao Song's phone had been under his control. There was no news at all. It seemed that it was impossible for him to solve this problem on his own. Qin Sheng thought of the 2 old acquaintances. As long as there were common interests, even enemies could become friends. Moreover, there were some old acquaintances, although they were somewhat unhappy. "Bai Yong, do you have the contact information of the Zhang siblings?" Qin Sheng asked with interest. Bai Yong's face changed instantly. "Mr. Qin, how do you know about them?" Qin Sheng was too lazy to explain too much. He just ordered, "Don't worry so much. Call them and tell them that an old acquaintance wants to see them. Not only can they get that thing, but also the ancient jade that the Zhang and Song families have been fighting for." Zhao Song took out Bai Yong's phone. After untying him, he motioned for him to make the call quickly. Although Bai Yong was very puzzled, he still dialed the behind-the-scenes boss's number. Within a few seconds, the phone was connected. Bai Yong said respectfully, "Mr. Zhang, this is Bai Yong. I have something to report to you." Beside Westlake, in Ziweiguan, the Zhang siblings were accompanying a family friend for a meal. This friend had a lot of connections in Hangzhou and was asking him to inquire about the recent events. Zhang Zibong, who was wearing a black leather jacket and had a trendy hairstyle, got up and walked outside with his phone. He squinted and said, "If you have something to say it quickly. I'm still busy." "Mr. Zhang, an old friend of yours wants to see you. He said that as long as you cooperate, not only can you get the thing you want, but you can also get the ancient jade that the Zhang and Song families have been fighting for." Bai Yong did not waste time and reported according to Qin Sheng's words. Sure enough, as soon as he said this, Zhang Zibong's face changed instantly. He frowned and said, "What's his name? Where is he now?" "He said that you will know when you come. He is next to me now. Do you want to see him?" Bai Yong continued. Zhang Zibong pondered for a few seconds and gritted his teeth. "Where are you now? I'll come over right away. I'm at my Jiawu." "Where you came today," Bai Yong said truthfully. After this sentence, Zhao Song grabbed the phone and hung up without saying another word. Zhang Zibong, who was by West Lake, was about to ask a few more questions, but the phone was hung up directly. He really did not know who this old friend was. Not only could he help them get that thing, but he also knew about the ancient jade that the Zhang and Song families were fighting for. Whether it was true or not, even if he was fooled, Zhang Zibong had to go because the matter was more important. He quickly ran into the box and pulled his sister Zhang Ziyu to Mai Jiawu. In the small courtyard of Mai Jiawu's tea hill, Qin Sheng, who had been embarrassed for the whole day, finally had time to rest. This was the hometown of Longjing, the place where the superior Longjing was produced. If he did not drink some Longjing, it would be a waste to stay here for so long. "Zhao Song, do you have tea?" "Make a pot of tea," Qin Sheng ordered Zhao Song. Zhao Song immediately went out and rummaged through the cabinets. There were indeed a lot of stored tea leaves, but he did not know what grade they were. Not long after, a pot of tea was ready. Qin Sheng picked up the teacup, tasted it carefully, and said, "Good tea." Longjing had always been known for its tenderness. It was divided into lotus heart, sparrow tongue, and qiqiang, according to the degree of tenderness and the time of harvest. The tenderness and uniformity of fresh leaves formed the basis of the quality of Longjing tea. Around the Qingming festival, the raw materials for special and high-grade tea were harvested. Around the Giyu to Lixia, the small 3 grades were harvested. That was 1 bud and 2 leaves, or 1 or 2 young leaves were the raw materials for high-grade and medium-grade tea. Summer and autumn tea was harvested with 1 bud and 2 leaves. In the early stage, the small 3 grades were harvested, and in the later stage, 1 bud and 3 leaves were harvested. Therefore, the best Longjing tea was naturally harvested during the Qingming festival. This pot of tea was brewed 3 times. Qin Sheng chatted with Lin Xin on WeChat. This girl was quite resentful towards Qin Sheng. She said that it was almost New Year's Day, and she wanted to go home. She asked Qin Sheng if he had time to accompany her back. The second day of New Year's Day was her mother's birthday. She wanted to accompany her mother to celebrate her birthday. Qin Sheng thought for a moment. He remembered that in the past, no matter who celebrated their birthday, every year, they could have a big meal. Especially on his birthday, Uncle Lin and his wife would either bring him back to Zhongnan Mountains to spend the day with the old master, or if the old master was unwilling to come out or had something to do, Uncle Lin and his wife would bring him a play in the city. Family was something Qin Sheng had always been envious of. Fortunately, he had the Lin family, which made up for the regret in his life. Otherwise, his character might be very strange. Therefore, Qin Sheng had always felt that he owed the Lin family a lot. Especially after his grandfather passed away, he had placed the Lin family in the most important position. When Uncle Lin got into trouble, he was not there and did not help. Therefore, Qin Sheng wanted to work hard and make a name for himself as soon as possible. He could also think of a way to clear Uncle Lin's name. Therefore, he did not hesitate to agree to accompany Lin Xin back to Xin on New Year's Day. At this time, there was finally some movement outside. Hong Tao hurriedly ran in and shouted, "Mr. Qin, they're here." Qin Sheng slowly stood up and went out to greet them. At this time, the Zhang siblings also walked into the small courtyard with their subordinates. The moment they saw Qin Sheng, they finally understood who this old acquaintance was. It turned out that it was Qin Sheng who had lost their family's ancient jade. Qin Sheng stood in front of the steps and said with a smile, "Brother Zhang, Ziyu, how have you been?" Zhang Ziyu, who had come back to her senses, stared at Qin Sheng as if she had seen the person who had killed her father. Zhang Ziyu was dressed in punk-style clothes and had rivets all over her body. She had pigtails, dyed her hair purple and red, and put on big eyeshadow. She really had a unique style. Qin Sheng wanted to say something, But Zhang Ziyu suddenly burst out and rushed to Qin Sheng without warning. Qin Sheng shouted, "Damn it again!" The Zhang family subordinates wanted to follow him, but were stopped by Zhang Zibong. They just stood there and watched the scene. Anyway, Qin Sheng would not do anything to his sister. After all, Ziyu was no match for him. The violent lady, Zhang Ziyu, rushed in front of Qin Sheng and kicked him directly. The riveted shoes on her feet were so domineering that anyone who was hit would be badly injured. Qin Sheng had no choice but to dodge backward quickly. After Zhang Ziyu's kick landed on the ground, it directly smashed a bluestone slab. It could be seen that she had used a lot of strength. "Can't you talk properly? Don't hit me every time we meet," Qin Sheng said slightly angrily. Zhang Ziyu did not care at all and swept her foot horizontally. Qin Sheng bent down to dodge, stood up and grabbed Zhang Ziyu's long legs, which were definitely played by men for years, and said again, "Can't you talk properly? If you continue like this, I'll hit you." "You rogue, I'm going to kill you today," Zhang Ziyu shouted. At this moment, Zhao Song, Bai Yong, and Hong Tao were dumbfounded. What was going on? Weren't they old friends? Why did they hit each other when they met? Zhang Ziyu was not willing to give up and even wanted to kill. No matter how patient Qin Sheng was, he got angry. When Zhang Ziyu did not manage to turn around in time, Qin Sheng directly grabbed her arm from behind and hugged her waist. This action was extremely ambiguous. Zhang Ziyu's proud breasts made people drool with desire. "You lecher, let go of me." Zhang Ziyu struggled to resist, but she was no match for Qin Sheng. She was so angry that she scolded. Qin Sheng did not bother to pay attention to her and shouted to Zhang Zibong, "Brother Zhang, can you control your sister?" Zhang Zibong had to say, "Ziyu, that's enough." Hearing this, Qin Sheng let go of Zhang Ziyu and pushed her to Zhang Zibong. Zhang Ziyu still wanted to hit him, but was stopped by Zhang Zibong. Chapter 107. Each has their own considerations. Zhang Zibong and Zhang Ziyu had completely different personalities. Zhang Zibong was calm and cautious, while Zhang Ziyu was unruly and hot-tempered. The relationship between Qin Sheng and the Zhang siblings could be traced back to 2 years ago. The Zhang family's sphere of influence was in Hubei and Hubei, and it could be regarded as a prestigious invisible family. However, they had a sworn enemy, the Song family, whose strength was not weaker than theirs. Especially in recent years, the Song family had been developing rapidly in the political circle and gradually began to suppress the Zhang family. The two families could be regarded as mortal enemies. The most important thing was the ancient jade in the Zhang family's hands. It was said that the ancestors had robbed it from the old master of the Song family. This ancient jade had a long history and had a history of thousands of years. That was how he got to know the Zhang siblings. For hundreds of years, the Song family had never forgotten about this and had always wanted to get back the ancient jade that belonged to them. However, they were not as powerful as the Zhang family and did not dare to offend the Zhang family. It was not until these years that they had a new idea. Since they could not rob it openly, they could steal it secretly. The Song family found several masters and set up a trap to enter the old house of the Zhang family on the birthday of the old master of the Zhang family. They really got the jade out. Unfortunately, only one person came out alive in the end. This man took the ancient jade and made great efforts to escape from the Zhang family. He met Qin Sheng by chance. At that time, the man was seriously injured and was about to die. Before he died, he gave the jade to Qin Sheng, which brought bad luck to Qin Sheng. From then on, he was chased by the Zhang and Song families. During his escape, he fought with the Zhang and Song families many times. That was how he got to know the Zhang siblings. However, compared with the Zhang family, Qin Sheng was closer to Miss Song and almost married into the Song family. Zhang Zibong did not expect that he could actually meet Qin Sheng, his old enemy, just by tracking that thing. It was really a bargain. What was more unexpected was that Qin Sheng was also involved in this matter. Qin Sheng invited the Zhang siblings into the hall, and they sat opposite each other. Behind Qin Sheng stood Zhao Song and Hong Tao, while behind Zhang Zibong stood a few subordinates and Zhang Ziyu. The violent girl, Zhang Ziyu, stared at Qin Sheng fiercely, almost wanting to eat him up. She did not know how Qin Sheng had offended her in the past. I didn't expect to meet you here. Qin Sheng, how have you been? Zhang Zibong stared at Qin Sheng with a smile while playing with the Vajra Bodhi bracelet in his hand. When he came in and saw Bai Yong tied to the pillar, he directly ignored him. Bai Yong was just a pawn of his and was of no importance. Qin Sheng also said happily, "It didn't occur to me that I would meet the Zhang siblings here. It's really fate. It's fate, but also an ill-fated one. Tell me, what do you want from me? You'd better give me a reason not to kill you," Zhang Zibong said with a playful look. They had lost Qin Sheng long ago, but they did not expect to meet this guy again. Compared to that thing, the ancient heirloom jade was the most important. Zhao Song and Hong Tao, who were behind Qin Sheng, heard this, and their faces changed slightly. Just now, they felt that Qin Sheng was not a friend of these people. Now it seemed that they were more likely to be enemies. They really did not know what Qin Sheng wanted to do. "Brother Zhang, you are still so arrogant. If you could kill me, you would have done it 2 years ago, and you would not have chased me for more than 2 years. I know that once I meet you, my identity will be exposed again. I guess you want the ancient heirloom jade more than that thing," Qin Sheng said with interest. This was also the decision he made after careful consideration. Zhang Ziyu snorted and said, "We want both. That ancient jade originally belongs to the Zhang family and is useless to me. If I don't give it to you from today on, I guess I'll be chased by the Zhang family again. Maybe you will also tell the Song family. I don't want to live that kind of life anymore. Let's just end it." Qin Sheng did not pay attention to Zhang Ziyu. This Zhang Ziyu was really lacking in femininity. Compared with the gentle and elegant Miss Song, it was really a world of difference. Zhang Zibong smiled faintly and said, "Get to the point. The point is, you want both of them. Okay, but let's make a deal which is absolutely beneficial to you, and let me sell it at a clearance sale. What do you think?" Qin Sheng picked up the teacup and said shrewdly. Zhang Zibong had long known that Qin Sheng was not a good person, and he might have some ideas behind his back. He frowned and said, "Tell me about your deal first. If I think it's a good deal, I will consider it." "It's absolutely a good deal. Doesn't the Zhang family want that thing? To be honest, I really don't know where it is. The only one who knows where it is Hong Xing. We can cooperate to find Hong Xing, and you can get that thing. I only want Hong Xing. After that, I will tell you where the ancient jade of your Zhang family is. How about this deal? Is it a good deal?" Qin Sheng said with a smile. For him, this was a losing deal, but the ancient jade had caused him a lot of trouble. The Zhang family would know his existence sooner or later. At that time, the Zhang family and the Song family would fight with him until one of them died. Now he wanted to live a peaceful life and did not want to be involved in this matter anymore. In fact, he wanted to completely get away from it. After a moment of silence, Zhang Zibong said with interest, "This deal seems to be a good deal. It can be said that we have a big advantage. But how can I believe you? Believe it or not, I only want Hong Xing. I don't want that thing because I can't find Hong Xing with my ability at present. Finding Hong Xing is the task given to me by my boss. As for the second thing, there is no doubt. You already know where I am. If I don't tell you, with the means of your Zhang family, won't you kill me?" Qin Sheng said slowly. Zhang Zibong suddenly burst into laughter and said, "Qin Sheng, do you have the capital to bargain with me? When I saw you, that thing was no longer important. I want the thing of my Zhang family more. Do you think you can leave here today?" As soon as Zhang Zibong said this, several men rushed in from outside, including the men of the Zhang family present. They directly surrounded Qin Sheng and others. Obviously, they did not intend to let them leave like this. Qin Sheng's face changed slightly. Zhao Song and Hong Tao, who were behind him, were also nervous. They did not expect that the originally peaceful scene would suddenly become fierce. Qin Sheng did not lose his calm. He shook his head and smiled bitterly. "Brother Zhang, you don't have to do this. Even if we really fight, you may not be able to stop me. Otherwise, I would have been caught by you many times in the past 2 years. There's only one chance. If I leave here alive, I can tell you for sure that the next time you see that ancient jade, it must be in the hands of the Song family. After all, I'm the fiancé of the Miss of the Song family. Ha ha! Zhang Zibong laughed again, but he was a little embarrassed. He said happily, Qin Sheng, you're still the same old Qin Sheng. You don't fall for it. It's okay, I'm just kidding. It's such a good deal. How can I not agree? What reason do I have to refuse? This is the brother Zhang I know. I hope we can cooperate happily. Qin Sheng slowly got up and walked to Zhang Zibong. He took the initiative to shake hands with Zhang Zibong. Zhang Zibong shook hands with Qin Sheng and said slowly, but I warn you, if you play tricks on me this time, I will definitely make you suffer. Brother Zhang, don't worry. I have no reason to lie to you. Qin Sheng laughed. The enemy had become an ally. Qin Sheng had finally achieved his goal. At least he did not have to be as worried as he had been 2 days ago. Exchanging an ancient jade that he would never have, that was completely useless to him in exchange for an ally. This was a good deal for everyone. After shaking hands with Zhang Zibong, Qin Sheng looked at Zhang Zhu, who was next to him, reached out his hand and said, Ziyu, we are allies from now on. As a girl, don't touch me. You're not a lady. Unexpectedly, Zhang Ziyu did not take Qin Sheng seriously at all and said directly, go away. This made Qin Sheng quite embarrassed. Zhao Song and Hong Tao behind him also wanted to laugh, but did not dare to. Then, I hope we can contact each other more. Once we find Brother Hong, I hope Brother Zhang will tell me as soon as possible, Qin Sheng said with his eyes lit up. Zhang Zibong nodded silently and said, don't worry about this. The cooperation was reached, and there was no big fight. The Zhang siblings left with their men. Qin Sheng and Zhao Song were also ready to leave my Jiaowu. Obviously, it was not suitable to stay here anymore. After the Zhang siblings left, in the car, Zhang Ziyu said confusedly, Brother, why do you want to cooperate with that hooligan? If you cooperate with him, it is like asking a tiger for its skin. We have suffered a lot from him in the past 2 years. Ziyu, some things are too simple. That thing or our ancient jade, which is more important? Zhang Zibong asked thoughtfully. Zhang Ziyu replied directly, of course, the ancient jade is more important. It is our family treasure. In such a big family, my current position is very awkward. It will be difficult for me to make a name for myself. Therefore, I'm taking a gamble. If I can get the ancient jade, the old man will look at me in a different light. Do you understand what I mean? Zhang Zibong said slowly. Qin Sheng had his own considerations, but he had more considerations. This was the real purpose of his cooperation with Qin Sheng. If this cooperation was successful and he got the thing and the ancient jade, his position among the younger generation of the family would rise sharply and he would be ranked at the top. Zhang Ziyu understood instantly and nodded. Brother, I understand. In the small courtyard of my Zhou, Zhao Song said doubtfully, Brother Qin, can the Zhang siblings be trusted? As long as I am in Hangzhou, they are trustworthy, and they are our absolute allies. There will be no deviation. You will not understand the importance of the ancient jade to them. Qin Sheng said with interest. This ancient jade was no longer a matter of value. It was related to the hundreds of years of resentment between the Zhang and Song families. It was related to the reputation of the two families. This was the most important thing. Zhao Song and Hong Tao naturally would not understand. They just frowned and said, since they are trustworthy, with this ally, we will find Brother Hong sooner or later. I just don't know if Brother Hong has met with an accident. Whether he is dead or alive, we have to find him first, Qin Sheng said calmly. Let's go and find a new stronghold. We can't stay here any longer. Zhao Song looked back at Bai Yong, who was tied to the pillar, and asked, Brother Qin, what about him? Chapter 108. There's news. Begging for monthly tickets, begging for collection. It's the end of the month. Everyone please come. Qin Sheng did not care about the relationship between the Zhang and Song families, and it had nothing to do with him. It was a freak accident that he got that piece of ancient jade. Who knew that he would get himself killed? The Zhang and Song families chased after Qin Sheng endlessly for 2 years. When Qin Sheng returned to Xi'an, the Song family still sent people to chase after him. In fact, that piece of ancient jade was completely meaningless to Qin Sheng. Its biggest significance might be to sell it and make some money. But if he could live to make money, he might not be able to live to spend it. Qin Sheng could totally hand it over, but he was young and impetuous. He had been almost killed several times, so naturally he had a bad temper. They wanted it, but he would not give it to them. But now it was different. Qin Sheng returned to Shanghai and began to fight for his life goal. The Zhang and Song families would find him sooner or later, and then there would be chaos again. So he took advantage of this matter to get rid of the hot potato, and he could do them a favor. But Qin Sheng still had a trick up his sleeve. Once the matter was over, he would tell the Zhang family and the Song family. After all, Miss Song was half his fiancée, and they still had a relationship, so he would not let the Zhang family take advantage of him. Now that the Zhang family's brother and sister were gone, Qin Sheng had to deal with the traitor first. Hearing Qin Sheng's words, Bai Yong was so scared that he almost wet his pants. He quickly begged for mercy. "Mr. Qin, I was wrong. I was really wrong. Please, Mr. Qin, don't kill me. I have parents and children to take care of." "Why didn't you say this when you betrayed us?" Zhao Song snorted. He always looked down on this kind of man who had no loyalty and ambition. Hong Tao also looked down on him. Although they were relatives at this time, he would definitely not beg for mercy for Bai Yong. Qin Sheng walked to Bai Yong and said with interest, "Then give me a reason not to kill you. Mr. Qin, as long as you don't kill me, I will be your slave in the future. I will do whatever you want me to do, absolutely without any objection." Bai Yong quickly knelt in front of Qin Sheng. It was really funny that a man in his 40s was so embarrassed. Qin Sheng sighed. "Alas, but you already have a criminal record. How can I believe you? Mr. Qin, I beg you, I really beg you, don't kill me. I really don't want to die." Bai Yong continued to beg. Zhao Song and Hong Tao pulled Bai Yong up and said to Qin Sheng, "Mr. Qin, don't talk nonsense with him." Actually, Qin Sheng did not want to kill Bai Yong at all. He was just fooling around with him. If he really wanted to kill Bai Yong, he would definitely not be so long-winded. So he waved his hand and said, "Forget it. Since you are so sincere, I will spare your life first. When I find Brother Hong, I will let him deal with you." Sheng said, "Mr. Qin, thank Qin. Mr. Qin, was a for him. Is Qin." After leaving my Jiawu, Qin Sheng and the rest were considered to have completely evacuated from his foothold. Under the suggestion of Zhao Song and the rest, they came to a foothold near the Sisi wetland, which was actually just an ordinary neighborhood. Qin Sheng handed Zhao Song, Hong Tao, and Bai Yong over to the Zhang siblings to help them find Brother Hong. The more time passed, the more unpredictable the situation became. Sisi wetland was next to them. Qin Sheng rarely relaxed, so he walked alone in the Sisi wetland. He planned to sit on a boat and travel in the Sisi wetland. At this time, Miss Chong Sam Jiang Qingyan called and smiled. "I heard that you were suspended by Shangshan Ruoshui for a week. Good news never goes out, bad news spreads fast. Sister, you even know." Qin Sheng sighed. After returning from Nanjing, Shui Qingyan had been busy. She had not seen Qin Sheng since that day in Shangshan Ruoshui. Originally, Qin Sheng was going to tutor Shui Hao on the weekend, but Shui Hao's grandmother was sick. His mother took him to the hospital on the weekend, so he did not go. "It's just a small matter. Don't be sad. If you can't stay in Shangshan Ruoshui, you can come to me." Shui Qingyan comforted Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng said, "Sister, you are the best. Suspended, then you must have time in the evening. I will go back to Shanghai in the afternoon and treat you to a big meal in the evening." Shui Qingyan said casually. Qin Sheng was a little embarrassed. "Sister, I really want to eat a big meal, but I can only wait for a few days. I am in Hangzhou." "Hangzhou? Were you in Hangzhou?" Shui Qingyan, who was drinking coffee with her friend by the West Lake, was surprised when she heard this. Qin Sheng naturally did not know that Shui Qingyan was in Hangzhou, so he replied, "I have nothing to do now. I am wandering in the Sisi wetland. Wait for me." I will be right there, Shui Qingyan said directly and hung up the phone after saying this. Qin Sheng was very surprised and a little confused. What was going on? The next second, he understood what was going on. It turned out that Ms. Chong Sam was also in Hangzhou. So Qin Sheng wandered casually. About 40 minutes later, Shui Qingyan directly drove to the Sisi wetland and easily found Qin Sheng. Sister, you are really in Hangzhou. Qin Sheng did not know whether to laugh or cry. Shui Qingyan, who was wearing a gray woolen coat and long leather boots, smiled and said, "Have you forgotten that I'm originally from Hangzhou? I often travel between Hangzhou and Shanghai. There are more things here." Oh, I remember. No wonder. In this case, you are a free tour guide. Show me around Hangzhou. It is my first time here. My favorite cities are Chengdu and Hangzhou, Qin Sheng said with a cheeky smile. Shui Qingyan was very familiar with the Sisi wetland. The number of times she had been here could not be counted with two hands. So she rented a boat, boiled tea on the bed, and accompanied Qin Sheng to tour the Sisi wetland. Tell me, you were suspended by Shangshan Ruoshui? I thought you were in Shanghai. Why did you come to Hangzhou? You came to Hangzhou secretly and didn't even tell me. If I didn't call you, I really didn't know you were in Hangzhou. Shui Qingyan put her bag aside, picked up the teacup, and stared at Qin Sheng. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "Nothing. I have never been here before. I just came here to relax. Hangzhou is such a good place. What's more, there's a big beauty like you. Don't flatter me. Do you think I don't know you? I won't believe you even if you beat me to death. Could it be that there is something difficult to say? If you need help, I still have some influence in Hangzhou. If you miss this opportunity, you won't be able to find me again," Shui Qingyan said. She had dug a small pit for Qin Sheng. It was not until then that Qin Sheng remembered what Jiang Xianbang had said before. The Shui family was indeed influential in Hangzhou. Maybe they could really help him. Moreover, he really had no clue at the moment. So he said honestly, "Sister, since you said so, then I won't stand on ceremony. I really have something. Can you help? Aren't you fine?" Shui Qingyan said angrily after getting a definite answer. Qin Sheng hurriedly replied, "I am not afraid of troubling you, sister." "Sister, don't take it to heart. Say it first. What is it? I can't guarantee that I can help you." Shui Qingyan did not dare to guarantee. She just wanted Qin Sheng to say it first. Qin Sheng thought about how to say it. After thinking for a while, he said, "Help me find a person. His name is Hong Xing. He has an antique business in Hangzhou. He disappeared a few days ago. There is something in his hand which is coveted by many people." Hong Xing? Why does it sound so familiar? Shui Qingyan did not expect Qin Sheng to ask her to help him find someone. But this person sounded a little familiar. It seemed that she had heard of him somewhere. Qin Sheng suddenly remembered that Shui Qingyan was originally a VVP member of Shangshan Ruoshui. She had a lot of contacts with Jiang Xianbang. She also dabbled in antiques and cultural relics. She might know that Hong Xing was Jiang Xianbang's man. Wouldn't this be equivalent to exposing Jiang Xianbang? However, fortunately, Shui Qingyan did not remember who Hong Xing was. She just calmly said, "Then I will ask someone to inquire about it. I can't guarantee that I can find it. I will contact you again if there is any news." "Thank you, sister," Qin Sheng said happily. He really wanted to hug this outstanding beauty in front of him and kiss her, but he was afraid of the consequences. At worst, he would be kicked into the congratulatory gift. After walking in Sisi for an afternoon, Shui Qingyan took Qin Sheng to a restaurant by West Lake in the evening. The restaurant was called Lake View 1921. It mainly served authentic Hangzhou cuisine. It was a relatively high-end restaurant. At this time, it was dusk. The West Lake was full of tourists. As far as the eye could see, the scenery was infinite. In addition, there was a great beauty sitting opposite him. Qin Sheng was in a very good mood. After dinner, Shui Qingyan returned to Shanghai that night. As for Qin Sheng's matter, Shui Qingyan said that she would tell Qin Sheng immediately if there was any news. Qin Sheng could only continue to wait. In this way, Qin Sheng stayed in Hangzhou for another day. In the afternoon of the next day, There was news from Xue Qingyin and the brother and sister of the Zhang family at the same time. This made Qin Sheng overjoyed. Finally, there was news. If there was no news, Qin Sheng could only call Jiang Xianbang. Xue Qingyin knew who took Hong Xing away. The brother and sister of the Zhang family were more detailed than this. They knew where Hong Xing was. Chapter 109. What did he want? Xue Qingyin reminded Qin Sheng on the phone that no matter what he did, he had to be careful. Obviously, Xue Qingyin already knew something. Since Qin Sheng could go all the way from Shanghai to Hangzhou to look for a man with a special identity, the things behind this were naturally not simple. The person who took away the man Qin Sheng was looking for was not an ordinary person. Unless it was absolutely necessary, she might come forward to help Qin Sheng, but definitely not now. The power of the Zhang siblings was also amazing. After a lot of effort and money, they finally got the detailed information. It could be seen that the Zhang family was quite powerful. In the evening, before the night fell, in the farmhouse next to Xianghu Lake, the Zhang siblings and Qin Sheng were ready to go to the place where Hong Xing was kidnapped. As for Hong Xing's life or death, it was still unknown. Are you sure that Brother Hong is at the Thousand Island Lake? Qin Sheng was somewhat worried and asked again. Zhang Ziyu, who wore camouflage today, said unhappily, "Why do you talk so much nonsense? With the power of our Zhang family, how can we lie to you? Go or not, it has nothing to do with us." Qin Sheng smiled bitterly and said, "I just asked. Look at you. Can you be more polite?" "I can't be polite to a playboy like you. It's good enough that I didn't kill you," Zhang Ziyu said disapprovingly. In fact, the two were quarrelsome lovers, but no one knew how much hatred they had. Qin Sheng muttered, "Girls always fight and kill. I don't know who will dare to marry you in the future. I guess you will be alone for the rest of your life." Zhang Ziyu still wanted to refute, but was stopped by Zhang Zibong. Zhang Zibong chuckled and said, "Don't worry. I said he's at the Thousand Island Lake, so he is. Today we will help you save him. Don't forget what you promised. If you want to fool me, today will also be the day you die." The brother and sister were really the same. Qin Sheng laughed and said, "Don't worry, I don't want to die yet." "Then get ready to go." Zhang Zibong snorted. Qin Sheng said, "This trip, unless it is absolutely necessary, you can't kill anyone. Don't leave any sequelae." "Don't worry, I will." Zhang Zibong nodded silently. The brother and sister of the Zhang family brought 4 trusted subordinates with extraordinary skills. Qin Sheng brought Zhao Song, Hong Tao, and Bai Yon with him. There were a total of 10 of them. They drove 3 cars to the Thousand Island Lake. The Thousand Island Lake was located in Shannan County, southwest of Hangzhou. It was 130 kilometers away from Hangzhou, a 2-hour drive. The Thousand Island Lake was known as the back garden of the Yangtze River Delta. There were only 4 of them in the Nissan. Zhao Song was driving, Bai Yon was in the passenger seat, and Qin Sheng and Hong Tao were behind. Qin Sheng closed his eyes and rested. When he got the news, he had already reported it to Jiang Xianbang and told him about the deal with the Zhang siblings. As for the relationship between him and the Zhang siblings, Qin Sheng did not say anything. Jiang Xianbang was most concerned about Hong Xing's life and death at this time, so he did not have any objection to giving that thing to the Zhang family. In his eyes, this thing was already an ominous thing for him since it was involved in so many things. In the end, Jiang Xianbang once again exhorted Qin Sheng to be careful. It was an island in the southeast of the Thousand Island Lakes, Shannan County. It was surrounded by lakes on all sides and was far away from the main scenic area of the Thousand Island Lake. It could be said to be isolated from the world. On this island called Changfa Ling, an open space was opened up near the lake and a villa was built. Although it was not big, the supporting facilities were relatively complete. There were 3 small buildings, tennis courts, badminton courts, and so on. Hong Xing, who had been missing for many days, was locked in the basement of the main building. Apart from him, there were more than a dozen people, including the servants, and so on. There were only 8 men who were mainly responsible for looking after Hong Xing. After all, no one knew that Hong Xing was here. It was not a problem for 8 people to deal with Hong Xing. The man in charge of this place was a fierce-looking man named Ren Juan. He was 36 years old, not tall, with sparse hair and a little limp. They had been here for 4 or 5 days, but there was no result from the things that the boss had told them, which made him very annoyed. He thought it was a simple thing, but there was no progress until now. If the boss had not told him that Hong Xing must not die, he would have killed Hong Xing long ago. After a round of torture, Hong Xing still did not say any useful news, which made Ren Juan so angry that he broke into a torrent of abuse. Finally, he had to leave angrily. He drank wine and ate the fish they caught from the Thousand Island Lake with a few subordinates in the living room. The fish was extremely fresh and the most tempting delicacy of the Thousand Island Lake. Brother Run, Hong Xing is so stubborn. If he doesn't say anything, what should we do? We can't always stay here, can we? Ren Juan's subordinate, the yellow-haired man, complained. They had been here for 5 days. If they continued to stay here, they did not know how long they would stay. His little lover had recently begun to be coquettish. If she did not see him again, she would break up with him. Ren Juan said angrily, "Yellow-haired, do you think I want to stay here? This place is so desolate. It is not as leisurely as Hangzhou. But this is what the boss asked me to do. What can I do? If you want to complain, go to the boss. Don't grumble here." The yellow-haired man did not say anything. Old Wolf, the burly man next to him, interrupted and said, "Brother Run, does Hong Xing really have no weakness? Everyone has a weakness. He has no children, no wife, no lover, and even no relatives or friends. This kind of person is really difficult to deal with. I have thought of everything I can think of. Think again. What else can we do? This matter must be settled." Ren Juan said angrily. It was the first time for him to see someone like Hong Xing. He had nothing and was so loyal to the boss. It was really strange. The 4 or 5 men around him were lost in thought. They were all thinking of ways. Hong Xing was tortured by them to the point that he almost looked like a human. He did not say anything. They really did not know how good the boss behind him was to Hong Xing, so that he worked so hard. Could it be that they were gay? At this time, a man came into the living room. He was dressed sloppily, and his hair had not been washed for a long time. It seemed that his body was emitting a stench. When everyone saw him coming in, they were somewhat disdainful. "Zhao Quan, you came at the right time. Hurry up and think of a way. How can Hong Xing speak?" Ren Juan saw the man coming in and hurriedly greeted him, although he looked down on this kind of person. That's right, this man was Zhao Quan, Zhao Song's uncle. No one expected him to show up here. Obviously, he was not dead. In that case, many things could be figured out. He was the real traitor that night, and those people were obviously in cahoots with him. It was no wonder that Zhao Quan did not leave and disappeared in the end. However, there were some things that they could not figure out. Then why did he let Qin Shin go? Zhao Quan squinted his eyes and walked to the middle of the crowd. He casually sat beside Ren Juan, lit a cigarette, and said, "Hong Xing has not spoken yet." Ren Juan shook his head helplessly and said, "If he had spoken, we would not still be here." F*CK. Zhao Quan scolded. "This matter can't be delayed any longer. There is another group of people looking for him. This group of people is not simple. Together with Mr. Jiang, I'm afraid that a long delay will cause trouble. Do you think I don't know? The boss just called me and scolded me. What can I do? This guy is F*King, unmoved by force or persuasion," Ren Juan scolded. Zhao Quan frowned and gritted his teeth. "Let me try again. I don't believe it." After that, Zhao Quan stood up and went to the basement. Ren Juan immediately followed him with his 2 subordinates. After all, he did not trust Zhao Quan very much. The basement of the villa was very large. There were fitness equipment everywhere. Obviously, it was used as a gym. Hong Xing, who was in his 40s, was tied to a pillar in the middle. He only wore a pair of big underpants. His body was badly mutilated. He must have suffered a lot these days. At this time, he was a little dazed. "Wake him up." Ren Juan waved to the subordinate beside him and said. The subordinate carried a basin of cold water and directly splashed it on Hong Xing's face. Hong Xing woke up instantly. The blood on his face was washed away a lot. His whole body was badly mutilated. No one could recognize his original appearance. Zhao Quan stood in front of Hong Xing and said with a sigh, "Brother Hong, why did you do this?" After seeing the man in front of him clearly, Hong Xing smiled weakly. His eyes were full of disdain. He said vaguely, "I'm just a dog. What can I know? You don't need to waste time. Just give me a quick death." Zhao Quan shook his head and smiled bitterly. "Brother Hong, others don't know, but how can I not know? Mr. Zhang's things have always been handled by you. Even if you don't know, who knows? Ha ha, look at you. You are too stupid, so you can't replace me. We're all dogs. As dogs, we have to be loyal to our masters. You're not a good dog." Hong Xing struggled and said. In the end, he even laughed mischievously. However, it hurt his wound, and he grimaced in pain. Zhao Quan looked very unhappy. He said directly, "Brother Hong, since you were so uncooperative, don't blame me." After that, Zhao Quan turned around, grabbed a handful of salt from the side, and directly sprinkled it on Hong Xing's body. In an instant, the salt went into Hong Xing's wound. Hong Xing's face was almost twitching. He groaned in pain and gritted his teeth to hold on. The men next to him could not bear it. What was he after? You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.